Roman is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
I have the slightest feeling of deja vu. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mark It Down podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by Matt Cascone and James Ashanti. Back here not only to review AEW Dynamite, but the bonus live episode of AEW Rampage, hence why we are on so late. But Toronto got a full live 3-hour show thanks to the NCAA tournament starting tomorrow on Turner Networks and basically dominating both TBS, TNT, and CBS for the next 4 days. If you need me, I'll be in my living room watching every game all at the same time. But let us start at the top of AEW Dynamite as we saw Mercedes Moné, who is freshly all elite, lead off the show once again with an in-ring promo. Obviously, Mercedes is still vibing off of her debut last week and is still super excited to be here. She says that she's almost had all of this taken away from her about, I think, a year and a half ago after suffering a near career-ending injury at not at the hands of, but while facing Willow Nightingale. Mercedes then throws it to a video package, kind of giving the people who don't really know who she is, which I'm not sure who that would be, a little bit of a rundown.
All 5 of them who don't know her.
A little bit of a taste of Mercedes.
She's come back to wrestling just for spite. She's come to AEW for spite.
All right, Seinfeld, I see your reference.
Please, Nick, as you were saying, my bad.
And then as she comes back from the video package, she says that the minor setback of her injury will set up for a major comeback. As for what she is here for in AEW, Mercedes says it's not to lead another women's evolution, as she's already done that. However, it is to start a global evolution where she is able to face both the best women in AEW and around the world. She then moves on to Julia Hart and Skye Blue, who she was able to fend off last week as they attempted to attack Willow Nightingale. And Mercedes says that she still has business with Willow, and by attacking her, they mess with her business, and those who mess with her business end up going bankrupt. As she finishes saying this, the lights go out, and when they come back on, Julia Hart is once again at the bottom of the ramp. And when Mercedes turns around to face her, Skye Blue, similar to last week, comes up from behind, except this time, Mercedes is able to thwart Skye's attack and hits her with a backstabber. After she hits that and Skye tumbles into the corner, Mercedes gets up to be face-to-face with Julia Hart, and we have a literal replay of what happened last week where Julia attempts to throw a kick, Mercedes catches it, Moné then hits Julia with a knee, gets her up for what is now named, hang on, I wrote it down, Moné Maker, but instead this time Skye Blue is able to pull Julia Hart out of the ring. The duo decide to go underneath the ring and they grab a couple of chairs. However, Willow Nightingale and Kris Statlander come down with chairs of their own as the 4 women have a street fight at the end of Rampage later in, I almost said evening, later in the night, to be honest with you.
Seriously.
The lights then go off again, and when they can come back on, both Julia and Skye have disappeared. And we then see a shot of Willow holding a chair behind Mercedes. It looks like she may be lining up to hit her, maybe not, but Mercedes turns around and catches her, and Willow drops the chair, pleading innocence, saying that she was not going to hit Mercedes. Mercedes says that she'll be keeping an eye on Willow and storms off to leave. James, decent opening segment. It pretty much set up, the rest of the night with a lot of different factors. We got a bit of interaction between all these women throughout the night, including the main event. So I enjoyed it, and we got a little bit more out of Mercedes and what her mission statement is here in AEW, and help set up a couple of feuds in the future.
No, absolutely. I love the concept of everything we got. I wasn't crazy about the execution of a good deal of it. I loved what you said before. Mercedes is still excited to be here. Can you imagine? It just took 1 week and she's already done with the place. I know last week's ratings scared a lot of people. And I try not to get bogged down in the ratings. I know we don't really talk about it a lot here on the podcast, if ever, really. But I'm glad that it didn't scare Toni off from highlighting Mercedes the way she should, or the way he should. What's up, Chrome Knuckle, man? I hope you're doing good. Or Knuckle. I never know, and I'm sorry. It's a me thing. It's not a you thing. I appreciate you.
Welcome back to the show.
Please talk about wrestling and not ratings. I completely agree,
Sure.
but I'm more afraid of the booking. You know, I am the type of person, I'm going to enjoy what I enjoy. It doesn't matter if 5 people are watching it or 5 million people are watching it. I just like what I like. But I do recognize that if only 5 people are liking the same thing I'm liking, the chances of me getting more of what I like are not high. Just call Chrome. All right, it's Chrome. There you go, Chrome.
Everything is Chrome in the future.
Future. But anyway, so I'm really glad that he opened up with her again 2 weeks in a row. I liked the fact that it seems like Mercedes is heading towards the TBS title, because it seems like the women's world title is getting a little more crowded than what we've been dealing with for the last few weeks, but we'll talk about that as we get further on into Dynamite. So I'm cool with Mercedes being in that title picture. I liked Willow and Statlander coming out because it serves their storyline feud with Julia Hart and with Skye Blue. I liked all that. I didn't like the tease of the chair shot from Willow onto Mercedes for a couple of reasons. One, it felt like Mercedes took just a little too long to turn around, so Willow had the chair up like this for an awkward amount of time for something that I'm supposed to believe she didn't mean to hit Mercedes. So, what was that?
I feel you. Yep.
Yeah, it took it, like, I'm not sure if it was meant to be so deliberate for us to see. I don't know if Mercedes took too long, but regardless, it was one of those things that it didn't quite work out the way I would have liked to have seen it. There's less subtlety there than I think there should be. Or yeah, there's less subtlety there than I think there should be. And if it's meant to be intentional that Willow is going to turn on Mercedes, I don't like that. Mercedes is a great heel. She's arguably a better heel than a babyface. So if someone's going to turn heel in that feud, it should be Mercedes, not Willow Nightingale. Like the most perfect peach there is. I'm sorry. I love her.
It's a great way to describe her, though.
I think so. Thank you. I will say, and again, this is not a rip on Mercedes, someone who, again, I've been very vocal about the fact she is my favorite of the 4 horsewomen. She is one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all time. She is known to sometimes stumble a little on the mic, and I do think she stumbled a little bit on the mic tonight. It wasn't terrible. It didn't like, oh my God, this is the worst promo ever. Like far, 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 far from it. But I think
on the Julia Hart TBS championship.
Yeah.
Thing.
I think she feels more comfortable as a heel when she's speaking. So, and I'm going to say that is going to be a common thread. I'm going to talk about that in another promo that happens a little bit later. I'm finding that I'm seeing some of these guys are more comfy as heels. But going back to Chrome in the comments, but Willow is the one that needs the heel turn because we can't stand that smiley gimmick anymore.
Who is this we that you speak of, sir?
See, Chrome, remember I was talking about the ratings before? 5 versus 5 million? You're in the minority on this one, pal. I get that maybe Willow needs some evolution. She can't just always be the smiley character, and I'm happy to see growth. You need to be a 3-dimensional character. You can't just be a smile. Otherwise, that's why Finn Balor was wasted on the main roster for years. You need some level of personality to be behind the smile. And I think Willow has it. I just think it's continuing to develop.
Yeah, and we see it sometimes. She mentioned later that after tonight, she'll have the most street fights out of any woman on the roster.
Which
So
is crazy. That's awesome.
yeah,
3, 2.
I think it might be 4.
yeah, I think it's 4.
She
yeah.
teamed once with Ruby Soho. I remember that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think she did. This is her second with Statlander.
yeah.
And I think she had one more that I can't remember.
Well, James thinks, yes, Chrome, people love Willow. She always gets great reactions with crowds. People love her entrance. She's very over. What's going on? You know it. Good to see you, brother.
What up? You know, it's been a
Well,
while since
I-
we've spoken.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, dude, people love Willow. I personally absolutely adore Willow. I think she's great both in the ring and out. And she's just a lot of fun. She really, really is. So
I they are not in the same category, Willow and Raquel Rodriguez. And we want to wish Raquel Rodriguez a speedy recovery. I think she's been taken off. I know that's WWE
No, we can talk about it.
too. So, but like, yeah, she was taken off the internal roster, and then there's like some
Not the internal roster, the active roster.
active. So
Yeah.
there's some discussion that maybe she's hurt again, dealing with some whatever she's dealing with. So hope she gets better soon,
We'll
Yeah,
talk
but-
about Sky Blue later on, but I agree she is looking better and better in the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely want to talk a lot about that street fight, but we have so much to go over first before we get there. So
Yeah.
Some would say too much.
yeah.
I guess one last word on Willow, Matt, before I throw it to you. But I do think she's a lot more than just a smile, at least recently. And maybe people don't get to see that because sometimes she's just been sequestered to Rampage. And this is the first episode of Rampage I've watched maybe since Punk got there. But she's definitely just more than the smile and the jumping around and clapping and stuff. And I think that can come across both inside and out of the ring. But to get a little back on focus here, Matt, what did you feel about Mercedes promo and everything that happened afterwards?
I pretty much I'm on the same level as James with this. I do wonder, I imagine they'll have to do Mercedes versus Willow at some point.
Of course.
And will it just be a face versus face match? I mean, could they play it where Willow kind of does the heel kind of, how that happens where it's like there's two faces in a match. It's like, all right, well, one of us has to be heel. So like the one person kind of acts a little more devious, a little more mean spirited, but like nothing that's like a huge turn. And like, it kind of just, the match ends up ending and it's just like, okay, now we go back to the status quo. So I wonder in that case, would Willow be the one to do those things? Who's to say? We'll see eventually. But I think you guys both really covered the promo. There's not much else I can say about it.
Yeah.
General.
I would think, James, that Sasha Mercedes would probably end up playing the heel in a match between them a little bit more because she has a bigger axe to grind, being the one who was hurt in that match. The first
Theoretically, yes, and that's actually really funny because that brings me to a point I really, really want to get to. But again, Willow is the one who had that chair up to Mercedes' back. So far, Mercedes has been very upfront about the fact that she has unfinished business with Willow. Willow is the one who seemingly contemplated taking a cheap shot. So, for all those people in that camp that like to say, let it play out, I guess this is one for them. Let's let it play out and see next week who's going to be a little more aggressive. But talking about that aspect of, the heel versus the face, considering one got hurt and has the axe to grind, we've talked about it in the past, but realistically, what does this mean for a Mercedes Saraya match? Because that is the match that a lot of people are waiting for. And that is the match that theoretically right now Saraya is the heel, but she's the one who got hurt by Mercedes. It wasn't IRL. It wasn't Mercedes' fault. Whoever hit her next was going to be the one to take her out. Yeah. But she's the one who took her out. She's the one who retired her from WWE. Is Saraya the bad guy for having an issue with Mercedes? Is Mercedes going to be the angry one, the defensive one? I don't know. So I think one could very well lead to the outcome of the other. I think maybe Mercedes being a little bit of a hypocrite could be good for the character. Let her be a heel against Willow saying, you hurt me. And then when it comes to Saraya, I don't feel bad that I hurt you. I think that would be a great storyline, and I think that would be great character work for Mercedes. So time will tell on that one, but I am excited for it. Chrome saying Mercedes versus Saraya is going to happen at All In. I'm starting to feel more and more like that's probably what it's going to be.
Makes sense.
He also says Willow versus Mercedes at Dynasty. That could happen, or we're talking about the Julia Hart, scenario as well. Like, could she face Willow before Dynasty, or it's too early to tell. We have options. Options are here for us, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
And you know it. We can't put your comment up, but LOL.
All right. On that note, I'm going to try to keep things moving here tonight, guys, just because there's so much to cover. So I do apologize.
He doesn't want to spend time with us, Matt. He doesn't enjoy this quality.
I could talk about Willow all night, so I'm happy to.
So can I, but
do it. Go for it right now.
All right. So moving on, we then went to a backstage interview with the Elite, which was filmed earlier in the day as they arrived at the show up in Toronto. So as Marvez properly introduces the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada, Nicholas comes up behind him and thanks him for doing so, but says that Marvez should be even more respectful next time by learning Okada's native tongue. Matthew suggests maybe Duolingo, as he has a huge streak and shows off a little bit of his own Japanese before telling Okada with Nicholas that because his championship match later is being contested under Continental rules, they will not be allowed at ringside, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, is that new? I didn't notice that.
No, it was
from the Classic.
Yes. Oh, right. Sorry.
So I think there's a set of rules that they established in the Continental Classic. One of them being, nobody at ringside, and they're going.
Realistically, that's the only rule. I can't think of any other.
I think the other one's the time limit.
Oh, is there? Okay, fair.
There was I think there was a strict 20-minute time limit during the tournament. So I imagine that's going to also apply to Continental rules matches for the championship, and then obviously I guess draws the champ retains.
Just unify it with the ROH Pure title. That's what I say. Unification.
No. Get out of here, Eric. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that.
Anyway, the Bucks, like I said, can't be at ringside, so they will be in the back, headsets on, watching right alongside Tony Khan. Matthew then asks Okada how he feels about his match tonight, and Okada first answers in Japanese before telling Eddie in English that he is coming for his title, and he walks away. Matthew then asks Marvez if he understood any of that, which Marvez, of course, did not. So Matthew tells him to learn some Japanese before next week, and he will understand everything Okada just said.
Dumbass, by the way. That was
dumbass. They call him a dumbass. That brings us right into the Kingston versus Okada match for the AEW Continental Championship. Really cool thing they did in the introduction here, when right before Kenny's entrance, they threw it to Renee at ringside, who relayed some information she got when she interviewed Eddie before the match, which I thought was really interesting. Something they obviously do at a lot of sporting events, whether it's football or basketball. They go to the rings, the ringside reporter in this case, or the sideline reporter, or what have you, and they talk to the coach, they talk to the players, and they get a little insight for them before game time. So I really, really like that, especially with the tournament starting, and everyone's going to see a lot of that. Anyway, as for the match, we saw Okada work over Eddie's neck and left shoulder a lot, hitting a bunch of DDTs, including one on the outside, which Nicholas and Matthew really enjoyed, made Tony Khan replay while they were in the back.
I loved it.
It was perfect. It didn't take away from the match at all. Like, it was like a perfect. It's just great setup. Loved it.
It was really good. Anyway, as we head towards the end of the match, as Eddie Kingston was going for a suplex, Okada grabbed the shirt of the referee, and the referee had to turn around in order to break Okada's grip, and that allowed Okada to gouge out Eddie's eyes before the referee caught him. Okada then lifted Eddie up and hit a slam. Okada was actually hit with an enziguri, and Eddie lined up for the Hurricane, but he clearly couldn't see as he was playing and pulling at his eyes, trying to get them back into focus, and this allowed Okada to duck the move. And then, as I was saying, Okada lifted Eddie up. I thought he was going for the Tombstone Pile Driver, but instead he just hits a side slam and then picks Eddie back up for the Rainmaker and the championship win. Okada now becoming your new and second AEW Continental Champion. We then cut to the Bucks backstage celebrating right in Tony Khan's face. And then we came back to the ring where music hit and we saw Pac come out on stage, pretty much challenging Okada for his new Continental title. So, Matt, I like this match. I really like the end with Okada clearly being the heel by grabbing at the referee and gouging out Eddie's eyes. But this was a bit of a methodical match. I thought there was a lot of good ring psychology. You saw Eddie at one point block Okada and seemingly injure his arm. And I thought that was going to have a little bit more of a play in the end. It unfortunately didn't, which I thought kind of sucked. But other than that, I thought this was a very good match. And Okada immediately coming in and winning a title is a huge, huge deal. It makes him look like a huge, huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you got Will Ospreay having like these amazing matches, and then you've got, on the other hand, you've got Okada having strong performances as well. Maybe not as strong, but he's winning titles. So it's like a great start, and like it's interesting to watch the parallels. And I love Eddie.
Jay White.
I've been wanting him to lose some of those titles to kind of rise from the ashes. And as predicted, looks like Pac's going to be the first, guy Okada defends this newly won championship against. I got to comment on at least one outfit tonight. It's my thing. Not a fan of Eddie's attire tonight.
The pants were weird, right?
Yeah, he looked like he was ready for disco, and it was like,
I thank you. I thought I was crazy. I'm like, is this something he always does, and I'm just noticing it? Like, it was weird.
It definitely did look different. I think it's because the pants are usually black, and then he has the singlet with the yellow stripe. And this time the yellow stripe went all the way down, almost like a reverse Kill Bill.
He didn't shove it in his boot. I think that's really.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it was. I think he's done the baggy pants before, but for a while now we've been seeing it where it's been tucked into the boot, and these pants might have even been baggier than they normally do. They looked even like maybe they were made from velour. It just was not a good look for Eddie. You gotta, it's like Paul Heyman says, you gotta like accentuate your strengths and hide your weaknesses. And as a presentation look, this was not Eddie's strongest. My screen is blurry. Is that Matt Cardona in Mets gear? No,
that's a compliment if I've ever heard one, Matt. Cardona's a good-looking guy.
He's a Mets fan.
I don't think he's not, but he's not a big baseball guy.
I don't think he's a sports guy.
Myers is a big Mets fan.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, I was gonna say he's from Long Island.
So yeah, like I said, not great ring gear for Eddie. I'd love to see him go back to the green. I know that was like a one-time only thing, but I really like that. But anyway, about this match, what did I like about this? Eddie hit a great sliding elbow early on in the match. I really like that. Okada had him in kind of like the sideways hold and drops Eddie's neck on his knee. That was brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call that, like a neck knee breaker. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious when Eddie headbutted Okada. Okada looked like he took that personally. like he didn't break character, but it was just like something about that. It was just like there was like some stank on it.
You gotta remember, Okada comes from the land of strong style. If you're gonna hit, come ready to hit. Don't half-ass it.
He took some shots from Eddie. Obviously, he had that big bleeding welt over his right pec. Excuse me. So
yeah. So this was definitely a solid way to start. As far as matches are concerned, to start the night. This title change. Boom. That's huge.
Yeah, like you said, first match of the night, you immediately get a title change, James. And like I said before, it's a title change onto somebody who just came into the company, and they are clearly presenting Okada as this, this not only the superstar, but one of the best wrestlers in the world that he clearly is.
So
second match, right? It was his second match.
First singles match, third match overall, and I think we gotta check. This might be the first instance in AEW history where somebody won the world title on their first, or not the world title, won a title in their first singles match in the company. I think that's a huge deal. And to compare actually what Matt said before, he was comparing Will Ospreay's performances versus Okada's performances so far. I think there's a very big difference. You were saying that Ospreay has been looking a little bit better, having these better matches. These, you didn't use the term, but these 5-star matches, and Okada won the title. I think the difference is Ospreay is putting on these spectacles while Okada is dominating. He has gone against jobbers already. Like his first trios match was against 3 jobbers, and he pretty much took them all out on his own. I'd say tonight, I don't want to say he squashed Eddie because he didn't, but this was 70-30 Okada, in my opinion. I don't think there'd be a judge looking at this match who would have given any of the rounds to Eddie. So I'm loving the differences between how these two stars are being presented. One is putting on spectacle after spectacle. He put on Ospreay put on a spectacle with Takeshita. He put on a spectacle with what's his name? His teammate.
Kyle Fletcher.
Thank you, Kyle Fletcher. Sorry, Fletcher. I am a big fan, actually. He put on spectacles with both of these men. Okada is just beating down his opponents, and I love it. I'm very happy he won the title. There was slight fear in me that there was going to be shenanigans that would have led to a pay-per-view rematch, and I'm glad that we didn't get that. And by pay-per-view rematch, I mean Eddie having somehow retained the title and Okada winning at the pay-per-view, not him potentially defending against Eddie again at the pay-per-view.
Right.
But I'm just so happy he looked so dominant in this. For anyone who was concerned, myself being one of them who was concerned about Okada's presentation, leaving New Japan and coming to AEW, all my fears are being put to bed. I see this man, and I see a force to be reckoned with. That promo, which we didn't really get to talk about too much, Nick, you covered it, but I just got to put my 2 cents on it.
Please.
That is what I want. And I'm going to go with what Chrome put. Finally, a company that books Japanese stars well. We've been saying for years about how they just couldn't figure out a way to make Nakamura's promos work in WWE. Okada made me fear for Eddie in 2 languages. It was beautiful. The man has a presence, the man has an aura, and it's just undeniable. And the one thing I'm very much looking forward to with him being this champion, if we're going to be following the Continental Crown rules, Okada's matches in New Japan were known for being classics, but they were known for being very long. His matches with Omega, the 4 matches, 3 of the 4 went nearly an hour, if not an hour itself, or over an hour. One of them went over an hour. Most of his matches are known to go long. And one of the common criticisms of Okada's is that his matches typically don't hit that next gear until the final few minutes of whatever match he's wrestling. If we're looking at 20-minute time limits, we can't have that. And this is, I think, going to be a very good way of getting Okada even more acclimated to the North American style of wrestling. So I think this is working out all around. And I think Pac is going to be the perfect first defense. Am I happy about it? No. I don't want Pac to lose again. I am a huge Pac guy. I want to see him win. There was a time where it felt like it was a matter of when for him to win that world title.
Yeah.
Now I think we're so far removed from that, unfortunately, that I don't know, but I would still love for it to happen. So I'm not a big fan of him losing title matches in any capacity, but if you're going to lose in a title match, Okada's a good one to lose. So looking forward to what comes next.
I think real quick, Pac, if he was going to become world champion, they'd have to repackage him. Because he's always down for a banger. He's always got great performances. There would have to be some kind of character change, in my opinion.
I think if we have this version of the Bastard mixed in with a little bit of the Mad King that we had when he was the Cruiserweight champion in WWE, I think there's a lot that you could do with that. I love this from Chrome. Pac doesn't want titles. He wants trouble. He did say he wanted trouble, and he is going to get it in the form of Kazuchika Okada. But I do think, again, I'm getting way ahead of myself because God knows I don't think Pac is going to be winning this world title. I do think the Mad King, not to take on Eddie, but
the King of the Cruiserweights, I think it was.
The King of the Cruiserweights, yes. The King of the Cruiserweights that he was, I think that gimmick could work in AEW as a world champion for him. But
you just got to say it right, though. You got to King of the Cruiserweights.
that would be good.
Decent match. Yeah,
all
and
good.
obviously, it brings up a good point about, he's worried about Pac getting hurt again. Obviously, it wasn't just past injury, but past visa issues for Pac, probably not ascending to the world title. So hopefully he can figure out both of those issues and eventually take a place back near the top of the card.
Yes.
All right, let's move it along here. We had a backstage interview with Swerve Strickland. Renee asked Swerve what his intentions were last week when he went to the ring with the chain. And Swerve basically just said straight up he wanted to choke Joe out. I mean, it's really not that complicated, especially after what Joe did to him 2 weeks ago when Joe choked him out. He just wanted to truly remind Joe that he has choked out a few people himself. Swerve says that he's been inspired by Mike Tyson's recent workout videos as he trains for a fight against somebody who shall not be named, and wants to fight himself tonight, saying that he wants somebody big. We then got into commercial and came back to a backstage interview with Kris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and Stokely Hathaway. Renee asked about their street fight later in the night, and Willow says, as I mentioned earlier, that after tonight she will have more street fights than any woman in AEW. So despite the fact she is all bubbly and smiley, she can really, really get after it when she has to. If that is true, Chrome saying that Swerve is dating CJ Perry, that's true. Holy shit.
That's
got the show.
Wowie.
He do a tweet or something about that, like as a joke, isn't that?
I don't know. This is literally the first I'm hearing anything about it. Yowie / wowie.
I think it was a joke, like a tweet.
Yeah, with an asterisk, believing this true. Anyway, back to the interview. Statlander calls out Julia and Skye Blue, saying she meant last week what she said about it being over after the night. And then Statlander is interrupted by Mercedes Moné. Stat thanks Mercedes for having Willow's back last week. And Mercedes says that's what a CEO does, stand up for what she believes in. Mercedes then says she's looking forward to Statlander's street fight tonight because, as they say, payback's a bitch, before the two shake hands and Stat takes her leave. Willow then comes up to Mercedes and seemingly tries to apologize for what happened in the ring earlier, or perhaps the injury in the past, but Mercedes cuts her off, saying that she's done enough before leaving. Stokely then asks Willow why she's worried. She's already broken Mercedes' ankle, and then Willow admonishes him, and then Stokely just straight up gyms the camera before they cut. Very much looking forward to using that reaction GIF in the future.
You guys have no idea how happy I am that Stokely has found his footing finally.
Yeah. I like Stoke a lot in NXT. It took him a minute to really find his footing here in AEW, but he's doing great with these two women. He's been really funny on commentary when he's included. He did a great job in Ring of Honor as, I think, the general manager or whatever authority they gave him down there. So I'm glad he's been doing great stuff here.
I have him saying, "You raggedy bitch," just imprinted in my brain. It just happens, like sometimes, like it'll be quiet and all of a sudden I'll hear him say, "You raggedy bitch," and it brings me so much joy in an inexplicable way.
When during the Rampage main event, when he says the two of the women were like fighting, and he's like, "This is what the club used to look like." I think it was the beginning of the match, and fucking Shivani goes, "The club was never like this." So it goes, "Shivani, you've never been in a club in your life. Shut up." He's really good with them, so I'm glad he's doing well in AEW. All right, let's move on to our next match, which saw Hook face off against Chris Jericho. Hook started this match by immediately dumping Jericho on his head, pretty much doing the same thing his father Taz did all of those years ago. And it completely took Jericho by surprise. And Hook continued to attack him with suplex after suplex. And for a minute there, I really thought we were going to get John Cena versus Brock Lesnar.
Right?
Hook was kicking his ass against suplex after suplex. Jericho finally is able to gain a little bit of momentum after reversing one of these suplexes into an inside cradle that he then attempted to go into the walls out of. And then he got full advantage later when he was able to counter Hook by literally just kind of spiking him into the corner face first. Jericho then hits a big boot to Hook's face and gets Hook up to the top rope to start raining down hammer fists. However, Hook blocks one and then deftly maneuvers his way onto Jericho's back and locks in the red roam. Jericho, due to the fact that he's losing oxygen, is forced to hop off the second rope and eventually goes down to his knees, and Hook is able to get him all the way down and to his back. However, Jericho is briefly able to break the hold, get up, and tries to, again to go for the walls, but Hook counters with an inside cradle and keeps Jericho down for the 3 count, not only earning the win, but his first pinfall win in AEW. Everything else apparently has been by submission. They said it on commentary.
Yeah.
They said it on commentary. It was his first pinfall win. After the match, Jericho showed his respect to Hook with a fist bump before walking off. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see after the tournament. Are they in the tournament?
I thought they had the tournament match last week. Like,
I did too. I thought they had it on last week's Rampage, but apparently not.
No, I saw the bracket during Rampage during the it was the Best Friends versus Don Callis family.
Look it up.
Match. Matt will double check it, but I did not see them in.
I don't remember them being in it either, but I remember Jericho talking about it.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, so look, one of them is going to turn on the other, and I do think it's going to be Jericho on Hook. But James, Jericho made Hook look like $1,000 in this match. You said it was Okada 70-30, in the earlier match. This was Hook like 80-20. He kicked Jericho's ass outside of a few moments in this match. And yeah, maybe Hook kind of got the sneaky win at the end, but Hook, like I said, he kicked his ass.
I wouldn't call it a sneaky win. I would call it a smart win. He was able to capitalize on a misstep by Jericho, and it led to the win. And that's what you want to see. So I loved it, especially over a veteran like Jericho. It shows that Hook is a smart wrestler. I think that's a good way of doing things. I couldn't enjoy the match, though, if I'm going to be honest with you. As good as it was, as entertaining as it was to see Hook basically ragdoll Jericho, I know what's coming. And it's going to be a while. It's going to take
6 more weeks of Jericho winter.
Oh, God. Yesterday was the first day of spring. And I know we're in for a lot of showers as Jericho just drags this out. And even beyond that, even beyond the potential of this being dragged out a lot, I gotta say, I don't know what the value is in a Jericho win at this point. Like, they made a big deal of can you guys hear Wednesday snoring?
I'm pretty sure
that's what it is.
Okay, I'll deal with that in a second. But I don't know.
It's late for her too.
You're going to steal all my thunder with this upcut because you're going to say the same thing I'm going to say. But
I don't know what a Jericho win does for a lot of people anymore. It's just been so oversaturated. And the reality is, like, they did make a big deal of it. Hook has beaten a former AEW world champion. On paper, that's a big deal. But we're starting to get to the diminishing returns aspect of Jericho's career in AEW. And that's sad because I like Jericho. I as a wrestler, I really do. But I don't know. I'm not feeling it. And I feel bad saying it, but just look at Action Andretti. It did nothing.
Yeah.
It did nothing for him. And granted, Hook is not Action Andretti. Hook is already like light years ahead of him. But it doesn't. Let's see what happens in a month if it matters.
I honestly think, and sorry, Matt, but I really think Jericho could do with some time off.
Go be Fozzy. Go.
Yeah, go do a Fozzy tour. And not that I think he has go away heat, but you could clearly see as James goes to handle his dog. You can clearly see, Matt, like even tonight in Toronto, in Canada, where Jericho is obviously from. The crowd outside of him, almost getting the walls or hitting the lion salt, a lot of boos for Jericho. Maybe that was just them playing along with, liking Hook more. But even then, even the subtle boos, not a lot of heat behind Jericho either way. And I just think we could all use some time to miss him. I think that would go a long way for Jericho.
You guys are hitting all the things I was going to say, but I'll even double down. It's like tonight, there were some boos, there were some cheers, but it just felt dull. It's what James said. We've seen these wins over Jericho. And to be fair, they did this in WWE with Jericho as well. I feel like he was probably the world the world champion, the ex-world champion they went to the most to like put over young talent. And sometimes it was worth it, and other times it wasn't. And I'm not going to say whether Action Andretti was worth it or not. I definitely don't think it's worked out for him. And personally, I wouldn't have done it. But obviously, they saw something there, I guess, or they wanted to have a big surprise. But they did it with Action Andretti. They did it with Hobbs, who's like in an okay position, but still hasn't been able to capitalize much off of that. And now they're doing it with Hook. And personally,
Ricky Starks too.
That's right. That's Ricky Starks and Adam Cole. Adam Cole, I think they had a pay-per-view match and Adam Cole won, and just people didn't really like that match.
Yeah, but at least with Adam Cole, he's Adam fucking Cole, and he'll be fine. He's already established. Guys like Ricky and Hobbs, they had a name in AEW, but they were a win over Jericho should have helped them a lot more than it probably did. I think Hobbs a little too soon to tell because it's been so recent. And then, as you said, Andretti, he is very young. He is very talented, but he got that win and went right into. I think he was in Ring of Honor, and now he's running with Top Flight. Last I saw him,
he does this water thing where he does like a whole water bottle, and I think that's great. Like keep doing that and just work on your personality. But back to Jericho. If I was AEW, I'm not saying I would fire him, but do they need him right now? I don't think they need him. I would have, as soon as the whole thing came up at the end of last year, if they had to have him on that pay-per-view World's End, fine. Take him off TV after that. Whether it's just take time off, quietly suspend him, do whatever you got to do. Have Jericho go away for a while because he's not really doing anything for anybody. Like he was getting booed really hard. Now he's just kind of like, it's whatever. And he's just doing stuff we've seen him do already. And I'd rather just see other people get a shot. Like, you know what I mean? Have Hook have a really competitive match with, I don't give a shit. Make it Action Andretti. Like just something. And just, it's not, Jericho, I don't think has anything to give anybody right now. And also he looked sluggish tonight. I'm going to say that. You guys were liking the match. I didn't like the match. That throw he did to Hook, it looked like it was supposed to be one of those quick catch throw suplexes, and he didn't get all of it because he was looking sluggish, and like Hook was not able to make the rotation and instead landed sort of on his face.
I thought he was supposed to go into the buckle and he shorted it, but either way, it was not a perfect move. Yeah.
And so he looked sloppy tonight. I think he should go away for a while. Again, he was one of my favorites growing up. He was literally always my top three. It was him, Kurt Angle, and omitted the other Kris. And I've just been so disappointed with him. And for however long, it doesn't matter. Just go away. And if you decide to come back, work a lighter schedule because.
So I agree with you in general, but I will say on AEW's behalf and Jericho's behalf, I actually think it was the right decision not to send him away after Around the World's End stuff because it was unsubstantiated reporting that was pulled back on by Nick Housen, who made the claim against Jericho, then retracted it because he realized he came across as an asshole.
Still, I've heard about that rumor for over 2 years. I never said anything to anybody because it's like, the source was like, and I didn't want to say names, but I've known about that story for 2 years.
No, but you said it the first time. You heard about that rumor for 2 years. The reality is, and look, I am a big believer in supporting victims. I'm a big believer in listening to claims if they come out, but you got to give everybody the chance here. You got to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And when the person who makes the statement for no reason pulls it back, you can't punish the guy.
We don't know what the
can't.
reason was. He
But
could
the
have.
reality is, nobody came forward with anything. You have a man who just made an allusion to something. The reality is, no claim was made. Nobody stepped forward. And I'm not saying that nobody. I'm not saying anybody should have. But the reality is, if you punish somebody anytime there's an illusion of wrongdoing, it's a very slippery slope.
I agree with that, but also wasn't there a second woman as well who she did?
So the woman who spoke up on Housen's claim, who has been very vocal in the past about wrongdoing in wrestling, made it clear she has no evidence of anything. She has not heard of anything, but when she saw the tweet regarding a potential claim about Jericho, she said that she wasn't surprised. Again, that's another instance of not anybody having anything to actually say. And again, I'm saying this as somebody, if it turned out that whatever was said about Jericho is true, or there was even a shred of anything to back it up other than Nick Housen, who was just literally trying to be a snippy bitch at Jericho. And again, if Housen is speaking the truth, good on him for saying it, I guess. But even then, he only said it as a way of taking a pot shot at Jericho, who was shit talking him on Twitter. So even that's kind of shitty on Housen's part. Regardless. My whole point of everything was, I understand AEW and Jericho not putting him out because it sends a very bad message. So now, though, if Jericho wanted to go away for 6 months, I would not complain.
Yeah, and I think following World's End, I don't think he was on Dynamite right after. He might have missed a week.
He was on Rampage like every week.
Yeah, he was still on TV.
So heavily.
Right, and he was almost always exclusively backstage. But in terms of, the in-the-ring stuff and him going away for a bit, I see both, Chrome and it's saying maybe, he should be not retirement, or maybe he should be a manager, maybe he should be on commentary. I think he can still wrestle a good match, and he still has good stories to tell in the ring and can do so. I just think, like I said, I think we just have a bit of Jericho fatigue right now. He could use the time off, let us miss you, and then when you come back, we'll be a lot more inclined to sing Judas when it hits.
I'll just say one thing with Chrome. Yeah, like I was going to skip this match because I was watching on my DVR trying to catch up, and I was straight up going to skip it. And I was like, you know what? Watch it for Hook. Hook deserves it. And I watched it, and I'm like, good for Hook, but also I wish I had skipped the match.
Yeah, it was like a dominant performance from Hook. I think it did. It helped him a bit. It made him look good, but the match as a whole did leave a little something to be desired. And you can hear that from what was pretty much a raucous crowd the entire night. They were fairly dead throughout this match, except when Jericho hit one of his, classic spots. Okay, moving along, we went to an Adam Cole promo package. Obviously, he is very disappointed at Wardlow after Wardlow didn't do his one fucking job, which was win the AEW World Championship and allow Wardlow to become the champ. And that was a great slip up by Cole where he said, the champion was supposed to be me. I mean you. So Cole then declares that Wardlow's only job now is to make sure that the rest of the Undisputed Kingdom continues to hold their belts, with Roddy obviously being the international champion and the Kingdom being the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And he better not screw that up. Cole closes it out by saying he's not doing all this or saying all this because he is angry. It's because he cares about Wardlow and he wants Wardlow to reach his full potential. And we do kind of see something here. Chrome and Aqua brought it up, and it's something James has brought up in the past. Do we think Wardlow could join forces with MJF to take the Undisputed Kingdom down?
To quote a great WWE non-Hall of Famer, give me what I want. Give me what I want. I'm going to say it 5 more times because I forgot my lines. Give me what I want.
Wait, you want Wardlow to be solo and not do anything?
Give me what I want. Yeah, no, I do. I want Wardlow.
James, you were supposed to say, that's not what I want.
I could do that, but I could do it all night, and it's a dangerous slippery slope.
It's a dangerous game.
You should have come to the Dune premiere with me. We could have shouted it to be Batista together.
Next time.
Dune 3, let's do it.
As we came back from commercial, next we went backstage with Jericho after his loss, and Renee asked him about it. Jericho said that Hook is the future world champ and the bad man he thought him to be, and he earned his respect. Jericho also then says to Hook that he has a proposition for him, and he will tell him next week on Dynamite.
And the audience says, I don't care.
6 more weeks of Jericho Winter. Who saw their shadow?
I'm telling you. It's terrible.
It's like Tony, I think Tony's in the clear now for announcements. You know what I mean? He's like, Jericho's taking all the heat for that.
Just a little while, dude. You can come back around All In and be there. Just give us a fucking couple of months. We then went to an in-ring interview with Will Ospreay. He's still super duper hyped to be there.
Ospreay.
He has really gotten a bunch of chants over already. That bruv, people still Aussie him, even though he's not Australian.
I love it.
Where is the bruv merchandise?
It's coming. It has to be coming.
It has to be.
Especially since they fired Matt Jackson's wife. Like
she didn't get fired. She respectfully left the company.
Apologies.
Matthew, that's a fine. Anyway,
I'll take it.
Ospreay starts his interview by apologizing for the last time he was in Toronto, which was Forbidden Door, saying he was a naughty boy and asked for forgiveness only in return for some maple syrup. He then turns his attention to Bryan Danielson, saying that the match Danielson had with Shibata on Collision was just great. It was peak wrestling. I didn't see it, but I was reading about it on Collision that night, and everyone was like, if you didn't watch this, go back and watch it. It was apparently unbelievable. However, Ospreay did take exception to what Bryan said after the match, because on one hand, Bryan complimented him, and on the other hand, he said that Will couldn't walk in his shoes. Ospreay then goes on to say that when Danielson was in Japan, he actually did see Danielson's shoes, and Danielson was right. He couldn't fit into them because they were too small. While Will respects what Bryan did in Japan, he hasn't done all the things he did over there while he was elevating wrestling as a whole. And he listed off all his accomplishments in Japan, from winning Super Juniors twice all the way to becoming the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So to prove to Bryan that he can indeed walk in his shoes, Ospreay challenges Shibata to a match next week so that Bryan can sit back, watch, and see how good he truly is. And then after the promo ends, Tony Khan makes that match official for next week on Dynamite. So, Matt, bruv, I've been loving Ospreay's promos lately. He's been coming out with a lot of fire, a lot of energy. And I think this is the first time he's really, clapped at Bryan. Now, granted, he clapped back at Bryan after Bryan went after him first, but we're finally starting to see the competitiveness come out of both of these men as we near their match at Dynasty.
Yeah, it's really something to looking forward to. I mean, I've been talking about Ospreay and these 5-star performances that he's been having since coming to AEW, and I'm sure him versus Bryan will continue that trend. What were you shaking your
to the comment? I didn't want to interrupt you. I was just saying, asking if Producer Boy is here. He is not. He is working tonight, making that cheddar. So good luck tonight, Producer Boy.
We're doing the best we can with what we got, and
I'm phoning it in pretty hard.
It's just funny. Like you asked me first about Ospreay, and I'm like, I feel like we're in, and it's nobody's fault, but it's like I would have loved to have gone first about Jericho, or I would have loved to have gone first about the thing before that.
I try to go back and
you go back and forth. You're doing your job. You're doing great. Yeah. It's just like it's the ones, you know what I mean? It's just not lining up in my favor tonight.
You could always
Rev, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing.
You could always pull a Danny and just interrupt James and go first.
No.
I try and line them up as like just put my foot in like as gently as possible. But yeah, no, that was really all I had to say about Ospreay. Just give us the bruv merch. There was some fun props tonight. It would have been nice to have seen some maple syrup. Like, I think that would have been fun and stupid. Like
in the street fight, it would have been funny. Somebody
and they could have made a meme out of that. It could have just been like Ospreay and the Brock, like, that's my shit. Like, you know, I don't know. Like
Copeland should have been chugging maple syrup instead of a champagne later in the night during Rampage.
Yeah,
that would have been
seriously.
great.
as long as Kyle O'Reilly isn't chugging maple syrup, then we're all right.
Let him live his life, man. You don't know.
He's a type 1 diabetic.
I know, but let him live his life. He can do whatever he wants.
We heard because what's his Nigel got all over him about that.
Really?
Oh, dude, it was terrible, but so funny.
It was great.
He went on like joke after joke about him being diabetic. It was. I love that.
It wasn't in too poor of taste. It was very like Bobby the Brain Heenan level of like healing it up.
Yeah.
Was this his match against my favorite
Bounty Hunter Keith Lee? Not Keith.
Bounty Hunter. Let me say Bandit Keith.
Boo! Boo!
Respect my boy.
Okay, I love Bandit Keith.
No, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I figured you were going to send it to me, Rev, so I'm just taking over. I enjoyed it. Ospreay is legit the most exciting part of any night he's on, in my opinion now. His promos, his matches, he has figured out a way to just get the audience into the palm of his hand. So I'm so looking forward to this matchup. I was upset when it was first announced because I didn't want Brian to lose. I'm not 100% sure Brian is losing anymore, but beyond that, even if he does lose,
he beat Okada, like, you know, in that AEW paper, Forbidden Door. Nobody expected that, so Brian could pull out the win here.
He really could. If he does win, I don't think it's because Brian was going to win. I think it's because Ospreay is supposed to lose for his story. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't think the win is meant to propel Brian. I think the loss is to propel Ospreay towards wherever he's going. And
get him out of the Don Callis family.
Yes, sir.
Can't be taking high-profile losses in that family.
Let's see the comments. It burns the eyes. Don't get syrup in your eyes from you know it. Yeah, no, thank you. And Chrome saying Ospreay versus Shibata. Yes, that match is going to be fire next week. Yeah. Ospreay talked about it. The last time they wrestled was years ago, and that was a very, very, very different Will Ospreay. Very different Will Ospreay. Chrome also saying Ospreay versus Danielson is going to be match of the year, and he's not prepared for it. None of us are. I don't know what to expect from this matchup because their styles are so vastly different. This isn't Ospreay versus Takeshita. This isn't Ospreay versus Fletcher. Brian has a much slower style of wrestling, a much more methodical style of wrestling. And in no way am I saying it's not something Ospreay can't wrestle, because he has. He's wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. multiple times. He wrestled another redacted guy who we don't really talk about too much, but Marty Scurll many times. He's used to submission guys. He's used to Sonata. He's used to all these guys. So I know he can do it. But I'm very interested to see how it's going to translate to North American wrestling. Very excited for this matchup. Let's see. Chrome saying Ospreay needs the W to climb on the rankings to win the world championship at All In Wembley. So here's the thing. Yes, there is a lot of time. There is a lot of time between now and Wembley. And one loss early on after many wins here in AEW.
To Bryan Danielson.
Yes. It's not going to hurt him. And again, the important thing here is, because if he wins too much now, there's no reason to wait to put him in the title match at Wembley. You do it as soon as possible. So you almost kind of got to delay him a little bit. Go ahead.
Also, that comment, if he loses to Danielson, I'm not saying that's going to happen. That totally sets up for something after All In. You know, he wins the title at All In. Danielson might be like, hey, I beat you in our first match. I want a rematch and I want for the title. Please continue.
First, I need you to shut up, because I cannot have Bryan Danielson losing another fucking world title match. Matt, I'm sorry.
He doesn't want it.
But that's perfect. So you know what? Don't put him in the fucking
That was sinister. That
it's sad that we live in a world where Danielson has not been the world champion and probably won't be. I feel like him and Punk are like two halves of the same coin. I've always thought of Punk as Vegeta and Danielson as Goku. But like we got Punk multi-time AEW world champion and it all went to shit. And Danielson has been nothing but amazing and magical, and everybody loves him. And it's like, God damn it, stop being so selfless and just take the damn title.
He's not being selfless. He's being selfish because he's getting. I would like to apologize. I saw red for a second. I don't know what that wasn't James a second ago. I don't know who that was.
Okay.
That was Bad Guy Jim. Bad Guy Jim comes out every once in a while. I'm not a fan of that guy, but regardless, Matt, I need you to know. I need you to look into my soul and let me tell you, I apologize.
Okay, you good, buddy.
Brian is a frustrating fella. I want him to win that title. I've come to terms with the fact that he's never going to win the title, but I need then for him to never, ever, ever wrestle another world title match. Just if he's not going to win it, just don't do it.
Have him win it in his retirement match in AEW, and then they can have another tournament.
Matt, I'm about to lose it again. Bad Guy Jim is coming back.
All right, I'm just gonna move on so Bad Guy Jim can go back into his hole. We followed up this in-ring interview with a video package for Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage in the main event of Dynamite, and then we had Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May versus Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa. I unfortunately missed a decent chunk of this match because my TBS app just completely cut out and I had to uninstall it and reinstall it. But I did get to watch some of it on my phone, and I was able to catch the end, where after Deonna went on an absolute roll following her hot tag from Thunder Rosa, Thunder ended up tagging herself back in, much to the annoyance of Deonna. And that allowed Mariah to tag in Toni without anybody noticing. Toni then came in, kicked Thunder into the corner, and Deonna ended up fighting her back into Toni's corner, where Mariah came back in. Actually, I don't even know. This was so chaotic, and I didn't see anything. Right, Deonna went after Toni. Mariah came back in. She got Deonna out of the ring. Then Thunder Rosa got back up, hit Mariah with a Death Valley driver, but Toni is able to take advantage of that distraction and the fact that Thunder still didn't know she was legal and get Thunder Rosa back into another corner. Toni then hit the hip attack and set up for a Storm Zero. However, Thunder was able to shake off the hip attack, as I think Taz put it, get a jackknife cover in on Toni, and actually get the 1-2-3 for the pinfall. After the match, you kind of see Deonna being a little upset that win was stolen from her, especially the pin over Toni Storm. But the two women were eventually able to celebrate their win as Toni and Mariah went to the back to lick their wounds. James, like I said, I missed a decent chunk of this match. I do like the end, though. I kind of like how we set up this thing now as we introduce Thunder Rosa into the title picture, where Deonna still thinks she should get her shot. Mm-hmm. And you can see the frustration of the fact that at minimum, she at least didn't get her revenge. And at best, she didn't get her opportunity to prove that she needs another shot by getting another pinfall victory over Toni Storm.
No, I completely agree. I enjoyed the match. You didn't miss much in the middle of it all. It was a good match. May looked strong. I like the start of it where the babyface women just rushed the ring and basically did the double takedown on the heels. I thought that was a fun way to start the matchup.
That's right where I lost my feed.
It's interesting because we're setting up for a lot of potential here moving forward with Thunder. I don't know if you guys remember the tail end of Thunder's run, but a lot of us were expecting her to turn heel.
Yep.
A lot of us were expecting Thunder to turn heel with the championship. And then that didn't happen. And if we're really thinking back, Toni was talking a lot of shit about Thunder in the media scrum when she won the title, the interim title, because she was upset. She wanted to beat Thunder for the title. That was the booked match. So in some shape or form, we're getting that world title match. I think it's inevitable. We're going to get Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa. It's a matter of, is this going to be a triple threat or is this going to be a one-on-one with her and Thunder? Personally, I would love the triple threat because I don't want to see Deonna get boxed out. And I think it's a good way of having that quote-unquote rematch without having them run it back one-on-one again. So I do think the triple threat's the way to go. I think Thunder turning heel is a very interesting way to move forward, but I don't know that I would have heel Thunder win the title from Toni to go from heel champion to heel champion. I think there are a lot of hungry baby faces right now who could probably have a good run with the title. And as much as I want it to be Deonna, it doesn't need to be Deonna. So either way, I think there's a lot of fun ways to move forward. I am of the belief, yes, I am still very much on Team Purrazzo. I very much want her to win the world title. I think she's been proving herself week in, week out. Again, I don't really know if they're going to pull the trigger on Thunder. I think they should, because as nice as it's been to have her back, it's been pretty uneventful.
And on Collision.
And on Collision. So give her that boost. Give her that shot in the arm with the heel turn. I don't know that she needs the title. It's saying, why hasn't Rosa used her entrance song Thunderstruck? What's her problem with AC/DC?
Money.
What?
Money is the problem.
Yeah, Moné's got all the money right now. They can't afford any more licensed music.
Her and Okada.
So, yeah, I'm very excited for what's coming up, whatever that may be. I think there's definitely a shift. And more importantly than a shift in what's going on with the world title, there's very clearly a shift going on with the women's division. We had two very prominent women's segments on Dynamite. And then considering this was essentially a 3-hour show with Rampage, we had a very big main event with the women. So Mercedes has brought change with her. And I'm very excited about that. It really does feel like Toni is putting in some time, putting in some effort with these ladies. And that's what we've been asking for what feels like years now. So I'm a happy camper across the board.
Yeah, me too, Matt. I'm very excited with the outlook for the women's division, especially as James said, we've been begging Tony Khan to give us more from this division, considering the amount of talent that's there and how good all of these women are. So, and as I said before, I think this match had helped set up a whole lot at the top of the card with the AEW Women's Championship with 3, I think, of the best women in the company. And I really like the fact that Tony Storm's old theme is back. It's been stuck in my head since I heard it earlier today. I love it.
Mariah May bringing back the Toni Storm gear and the music, that's a double win. Bonk. I
didn't say
bonk.
But yeah, man, I thought this was a good segment all around.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys noted that at the end, because that was the first thing I was gonna say. I was like, Mariah May, and I don't know much about this gal, but she came in and she's like, okay, cool, we got a little sidekick for Toni, maybe a stalker scenario, I don't know. But just doing the Toni cosplay right now is a lot of fun. And, I think we're all enjoying it. And I think the more we enjoy it, we'll eventually get to the point where they do break up and then she'll get to do her own thing. And hopefully that'll be, we get to see the real Mariah May now. But that's a long time coming.
Yeah, it will be after she usurps Toni and she becomes timeless Toni Storm. That's what they're going for here.
You think that's what's gonna? Okay,
no, because I mentioned it's based off a movie from the 50s, and I looked it up the other week and I completely forgot. I'll double check it, but please continue your point.
It's funny you mentioned that because I now remember I've definitely seen some cartoons that also did that storyline, and I'm sure it's based on the same movie. But anyway, back to this match. It was a good match. You didn't miss a lot, but it was good. Only real complaint was the tag in that Thunder did. She was nowhere near the corner, was not holding the tag rope, and it was right in front of the ref.
Yeah,
and it was right on the hard cam. It was infuriating to me
because she missed the first one and she had to make the tag because it was the main part of the story.
Oh, so that's what it was. She missed the tag. Okay, so I missed that, but still, that was a little rough, but it didn't ruin the match. It's not a big deal. I think James was saying a heel turn. I feel like Timeless is so hot right now and Thunder is not. And even a heel turn, even though, yeah, she'll get the boos because she'd be the one everyone loves. I don't think it would be a good move to have her win the title. as far as timeless Toni Storm, I know, James, you're rooting for Gianna to be the one to dethrone her. I think it's going to either be a returning Britt Baker or a returning Jamie Hayter when either of them decide to come back.
I'd be happy with Hayter. I'm missing Britt a lot. I absolutely do not want her taking the title off Toni, though.
Okay. I just think that's going to happen. I don't know whether I want it or not, but either one of those two I think is going to happen. I lost my train of thought. What was it? It's good to see Thunder on Dynamite because, again, not really watching Collision. I feel like she's been back, but like you said, James, kind of inconsistent. Yeah. Maybe it's not even it's like inconsistent appearances. I feel like it is. It was weird.
Again, it's as Rev said, a lot of her time has been spent on Collision. So I know we're not always watching Collision here on the pod. That's our bad, guys. But she's been around. It's just none of it has been important. And it's been a lot of filler stuff, whatever she is doing. So
couldn't tell you a feud or nothing.
She also was available for the last two pay-per-views. You know what I mean? I'm not saying she was in position to be in a title match, but she could have at least been the dark match of either of those nights. You know what I mean? And I don't know about Revolution, but she definitely she actually bumped into her in the presser on World's End. So she wasn't on that card, but she was there.
Yeah. I mean, she was traveling with them for a while regardless because she was doing Spanish commentary.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know how that worked out with World's End. I to be honest, I don't even really remember the date in which she returned. But regardless, I'm like I said, I'm a happy camper with how this women's division is finally being booked and being handled. Rev?
I found the movie.
Yeah, All About Eve, right?
Yep, it's All About Eve, 1950, Bette Davis and Baxter as the younger woman maneuvers herself into Bette Davis's life, ultimately threatening her career and her personal relationships. A very, very young Marilyn Monroe in that movie. Definitely, I gotta add it to the list of things I need to
How young? That was what? The movie came out, what, 50s?
1950.
How old was she?
I don't know, but it was one of her, it says it was one of her earliest roles, so.
Gotcha.
And I've seen some of her very early movies.
Question. So one Marilyn Monroe was born in 26, so she would have been 24. Did this movie did she end up dressing like her and then sleeping with the boyfriend?
Oh, she tried to, yeah.
Yeah.
They've done that movie a number of times or similar.
But this was the original. This was the original.
It was based off a book.
And it's also a play a lot of this has some old-timey feel to it. What's her name? Storm was very clearly doing Sunset Boulevard with her character of the loony, aging, losing it starlet. Now we're dealing with All About Eve. At a certain point, we're going to cross over into the 90s and we're going to get to single white female. And I commending both women for really making this gimmick and this storyline work.
Yeah, and I think RJ City has had a lot to do with the story and helping to write it and create the character. Cool. So everyone's been great doing this. I absolutely adore all of it.
Wait, Rev, I got to ask you. We're jumping off tangent real quick. Did you see RJ City's Hey Ew thing?
No, I did not.
Oh, my God.
Which one?
Oh, my God. I got to find it. I'll send it to you. Oh, God. I'm not alone. There are a million, or at least dozens, or at least a handful of us who all said, "Hey, ew."
Oh, so Matt, one of the best moments on the pod is when I mentioned Hey EW, and I made a joke about it, and then James didn't get it was Hey EW. He thought it was Hey Ew, and I broke. He broke me entirely. We had to stop the show.
My brain broke when I found out.
I'll have to watch this thing with RJ City. It's funny you mentioned single white female because that's the other movie I was thinking about.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I wouldn't be surprised if single white female had a lot of All About Eve references. But okay, no tangents. We don't do that. So let's move on to our next match, which is Swerve Strickland against the Butcher. Obviously, this was the match Swerve wanted. He wanted somebody big. He got somebody big, and he got the Butcher because Butcher's from Buffalo, which is right next to Toronto. So
close enough.
Almost like a hometown match. Anyway, this match is really quick. Swerve started hot. Butcher got some shots in, but Swerve finished it off really fast. I think he hit a last house call, before hitting a Swerve stomp. But I know he hit the stomp. And then instead of pinning Butcher, he actually locked in a submission for the win as a message to Samoa Joe. I also believe it was his first submission win in AEW. So we had somebody's first pinfall win, then we had their first submission win tonight. Very interesting. Also, I apologize about my voice. Blew it out on St. Patrick's Day. It's just starting to come back.
I'm honestly just glad you're here.
Anyway, after the match, Swerve grabbed a mic and said that when he first met Samoa Joe, he actually kind of liked him, and then he was indifferent towards him, and then he didn't like him, and now he's borderline hating Joe. Every day, Swerve thinks about hanging Joe from the ring post with the chain that he has, as he's done many other people, but unfortunately, his chain is not big enough for Joe's neck. Swerve then says that Samoa Joe will send security every day to watch his back, but he'll fight through every one of them until he gets what he wants. This prompts Samoa Joe to come out, and he starts pondering what he should do about Swerve. On one hand, he should ignore Swerve because he already beat him, despite what Swerve may think, and knocked him out of the championship ladder. But the problem is Swerve thinks he's great enough to box with a god. Heard that line before. And that feeling can become infectious, especially with the crowd who all start to believe in him, until someone like Joe comes along and smashes him in the face. So it then dawned upon Joe that he needs to give Swerve exactly what he wants. So Joe drops his title and starts to head towards the ring. However, he is interrupted by that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, who points out that both Swerve and Takeshita have the same number of wins, and Takeshita is technically undefeated, and he's undefeated outside of the family. He then says that Swerve needs to realize that it is not his house, it is the Callis family house. Swerve responds that if he had more time and wasn't distracted, he would burn the Callis family tree to the ground, but he will take on Takeshita anyway, and when he's done, he will turn his sights back to Joe. Following all of this, Swerve versus Takeshita is made official for next week on Dynamite. Matt A. Hype. So excited for that match next week, even though my boy's probably going to take an L. But that match is going to be absolutely sick. B, match aside, this promo I thought was great. Everybody brought it. Fuck Don, but I thought he inserted himself perfectly into this. Swerve does need a little bit more of a reason to get back into the title picture, and I think beating somebody near the top of the rankings, and hopefully he is in Takeshita, does make a lot of sense. And then Joe will probably just have to challenge him because he's just super pissed off at this point.
Absolutely. Like, I actually thought this was going to be a number one contenders match, but I mean, maybe it's too soon for that. Who's to say? The promo was really good.
Tony Khan is to say.
Yeah. Or Matt or Nick, whoever. The rankings, that's another one. But yeah, it's not to harp on you too much, but he did specifically said he'd burn it down, the family tree down to a crisp.
Yes, to a crisp.
So I was like, as I was saying it, I was going to say the same thing to the ground, but he did say crisp. Good promo, good match. I want to shout out to Butcher. Like, I know he got in shape. I know he shaved off the hair. I was aware of both of these things, but I feel like he looks better than ever tonight.
He looks great. And
so just, I appreciate the hard work he's put in, and I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more offense, but I don't think that fits the story. That's just me being like, I like this guy. I think he would have been perfect for Meat Madness. Like, they could have thrown him in that, and I would have been very happy.
Are you trying to bring back a gym back down there? Like, why would you bring that up?
Bad News Gym. These are options we have for the future. I mean, maybe we get a Meat Madness match in Dynasty, unless Jericho is just like, I need a match. Give me something. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. So yeah, I mean, the only other thing I was great that the crowd was booing Don so hard. That was Toronto, practically where he's from. He's from where Jericho and Winnipeg. He's
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. So they're close. They're in Canada. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but it's close enough that you would think maybe they'd give him less of a hard time.
Nope.
No, they were mad. Only complaint about his promo. I would have maybe not said he's undefeated outside the family. I would have said something along the lines like he's undefeated in one-on-one competition. It makes the family look like jabronis. You know what I mean? In my opinion. Also, I don't know if that stat is correct.
It's
what
not
he's
because he
saying
lost to Ospreay.
Yeah, what he's saying.
Outside of the family. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I disregard what I said. I thought he was saying like how they lost. What was it that crazy video game street fight they did a few months back? The 4-on-4, remember?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I understand where the confusion was, but no, it was trying to protect Takeshita a little
gotcha.
bit.
No, thank you for the correction. I appreciate that.
Don't let it happen again.
Yeah. So
it's your fault. You brought up Beat Madness, and now he's pissed.
I
feel
corrected
it.
you on the crisp, so it's all coming back to haunt me now. So, but that's okay. Great to see all these people. Want to see more Butcher. You know, like that could be a rampage. Now Rampage is like predictable. He could be a Collision guy. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Is Blade still with them? I remember hearing a rumor that I know his wife left.
Yeah, Bunny left.
Yeah, Bunny retired.
No, did she retire?
I hadn't heard of her wrestling at all.
Yeah, no,
the way Reddit talks about it, I thought she had retired. Maybe she just left the
Blade
company.
still with them because I heard a rumor that he left, but then I heard
Well, he was in the Tron. Like it was Butcher and the Blade in the Tron. So
Yeah.
I did notice that.
I think he's still with them. I think this might have been, you got to remember they're in Canada, so I wouldn't be shocked if not everybody made the trip.
Okay. Give me more Butcher. What do you think, James? We'll move on to your thoughts.
Oh, I thank you.
I've said it.
I like Butcher a lot. I like Butcher and Blade a lot. They're two guys that from the moment, here's the thing, from the moment they debuted in AEW, they never had a chance because they were not introduced properly. And then feud after feud, program after program, they were used as the heavies. They were never really a focus of anything they ever did. They were always behind somebody else. Like right now, they're behind Kip Sabian. Yeah, exactly. Before Kip, I think they were with Andrade for like a minute. Yep. They were part of the Matt Hardy Big Money Matt story for a while. They never had an opportunity to be important. That doesn't mean they're not good. They've just always been viewed as lesser. It's just unfortunate. It's just the reality. So I like Butcher and Blade as a tag team. I like what they represent. I really do like Butcher a lot. I know a lot of our music fans are a big fan of Butcher too. I think he served the role well here. He is at best a mid-card heel. He put over the hot baby face in a dominant fashion. It looks good that Swerve was able to beat a guy that big. So I think it worked out for everybody. I absolutely did not give a single iota of a shit about that submission finish. It was, in my opinion, lackluster. It didn't look like a great submission. It didn't look like a good armbar. That's not to say I'm sure it wasn't uncomfortable, but it did not look visually appealing. And after having already hit the Swerve stomp, nobody needed the extra submission at the end of it. And quite frankly, if you're going to flex during a submission, your name better be Bryan Danielson.
Didn't he used to like snap people's arms or something?
Like Penta did?
Hasn't Swerve done that in the past, or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't want to call you a liar, but right now, I can't make that joke right now.
No.
I don't know.
Rewind. No, I don't know if he did. I don't recall him ever doing it. If that was an NXT thing, I don't remember it. Good. No.
I was thinking maybe it was. Sorry, I'm going off tangent here, but instead of doing a submission, maybe like an arm snap and then do like a submission. I don't know.
You might be thinking of his superior tag team partner, Top Dollar.
Okay.
I'm allowed to be funny. I'm allowed to be silly from time to time. We're
Another
allowed to just,
especially when it's this late.
yeah. But fine matchup. Again, was not a fan of the finish. I don't want this to be a thing in the story where Swerve brings on, like, he's trying to out submit Joe. No, thank you. When he wins that title, it better be with a Swerve stomp.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And that's that. And
I think it was a 1 week thing just to send a message, though, James.
I hope so. I hope so. I can also say, and I feel bad saying it, I'm starting to agree with Producer Boy a little bit. I'm not really loving him on the mic as a babyface. The promo wasn't bad, but again, he doesn't feel comfortable as a babyface on the mic yet. Like, it's the same thing I was saying about Mercedes earlier. You know that this guy can deliver on the mic. He has consistently in the past, but I think he's just more comfortable as a heel. So maybe I'm nitpicking. I'm willing to admit that. I'm still 100% on board with this guy, but I'm starting to see maybe a crack or two in terms of the promo ability. But I still love this guy. Still absolutely love him.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think he's really changed much as he's become a face. Maybe he's gotten the crowd a little bit more behind him when he's saying things instead of, taking them down. But he's still threatening to murder people. So it hasn't changed.
He's threatening to murder bad people. It's different.
Okay, Punisher. But whatever. I don't care. I get Swerve versus Takeshita next week. I am in heaven.
There you go.
All right, let's move on to our Dynamite main event, which saw Adam Copeland take on former best friend Christian Cage for the TNT Championship in an I Quit match. Obviously, this was very chaotic, so I'll just run down some of the cooler shit I saw throughout the match, especially starting with the entrances, because after Copeland's music faded out, the crowd kept singing it, which was really cool. And then Christian got good heel heat just by having his come on and cutting everybody off, which I thought was really funny.
Also, the camera work was really good, like during the transition from the end to edge into Christian's thing. Because I feel like the camera work's not always great in AEW, but that was perfect. Continue, please.
If I may, I actually do want to build off that with Matt. I think tonight in general, AEW really killed it with the camera work.
Yeah, they only missed
there were a lot of great moments.
Yeah, they only missed the one thing. It was the beginning of the show when Julia Hart was on the ramp, and they almost forgot to show her. Other than that, I thought you're right. I thought they did a spectacular job tonight. Their production has been getting a lot better. I read recently they hired somebody. I don't remember. Oh, no, that was WWE hired somebody from ESPN. Never mind. But they have been getting better, and I don't know if they've hired people in the back or what, but I've enjoyed what they've been doing.
It might just be an experience thing, like they're still new,
too.
But they're getting better, so that's good.
Yeah.
They was back to the match. Great spot early in it when Copeland stole a Bruins sweater off of somebody and put it on Christian, and then took a Maple Leaf sweater off of somebody else, and they had a hockey fight in the penalty box, which ended with Copeland absolutely skinning Christian and then just kicking the shit out of him. I really enjoyed that.
Best part of the night. Best part of the night.
I said in one of our chats that, because I have a friend who's a Bruins fan, and he sent it. And I was like, Leafs fans will be using this GIF on Reddit and on Twitter for years to come if they could ever actually beat the Bruins in a game that matters. Anyway, later we had a pretty nasty spot where Copeland stood up a ladder upside down in the ring and dropped Christian into the locks or whatever those things are called. I wrote it down and I can't find it. Into the hinges. There we go. And the ladder closed on him. That was nasty. We got Copeland getting busted open after he went for a spear into a table on Christian, but Christian was able to leapfrog it and send Copeland into the post. And then Christian sent Copeland through the table by jumping off the top rope onto the outside, which was pretty cool. After commercial, we had Copeland bring out a hockey net and a stick, and he dumped Christian on top of the net. And then as they fought back towards the ring, Mother Wayne finally came out, and she grabbed the hockey stick and hit Copeland in the dick with it. And then Christian used the stick as a weapon for a while. He choked Copeland with it for a bit, and then he actually set up Copeland for a concerto, this time using a chair with barbed wire wrapped around it, but Copeland was able to dodge it. There was a little more back and forth. Each countered a kill switch onto said barbed wire chair, but Copeland was able to take Cage out with what is now a broken hockey stick and got him in a crossface with it before he then realized Cage wouldn't be able to quit with a hockey stick in his mouth. So Copeland took the string out of his trunks and started choking out Christian with it. However, this prompted Nick Wayne and Killswitch to come down to break that up, but they were shortly followed thereafter by Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia. Killswitch took an impaler onto the barbed wire chair, which was pretty cool. Nick Wayne got sent to the outside. Copeland then climbed a ladder and took both of them out. And then Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia grabbed some handcuffs, and then both Killswitch and Wayne were handcuffed each to a corner. Mother Wayne was also going to get handcuffed, but the second she saw them, she just bailed. Probably pretty smart. Cage then got taken out by the numbers game and was hit with a spear before he himself got handcuffed into a corner. Copeland then kicked him in the dick, and Christian wouldn't quit. So then Copeland just repeatedly kicked him in the dick, and he still wouldn't quit. So Copeland fetched Spike, which is like a nail-covered paddle, and hit Christian in the dick with that, and he still wouldn't quit. But Christian finally...
And then that was the end of the show. That was the end of Dynamite.
So it faded to back really quick, and oh, hey, look, it's Rampage. Rampage is on. But we came back as Copeland had the what was it? Fucking spike, thank you, above his head and was going to bash Christian's skull in with it, but Christian called the referee back over to quit, and Copeland was able to win his second TNT championship, this time finally keeping it for more than 30 seconds. I'm going to go to James first because Matt has a mouthful of Oreos.
I'm good.
James. Oh, no,
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm going to go James because he had the double stuffed Oreos.
I had the double stuffed Oreos too.
Yeah, but yours is missing something. It's missing gluten.
I see. I saw the white. That's why.
I think Matt really wants to go, so I'll let him go first.
Okay, Matt.
This time.
This match was a lot of fun. I'm going to.
Do you want to go first, and I get to go first? And
you've made your point. You've made your point.
All right. This was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm stealing a line from James here. This was very Looney Tunes. It was very like Wile E. Coyote, blowing stuff up. But it was great. I had a lot of fun with it. Some people might call it overbooked, but I don't care. It was great, and I guarantee you, if I was hammered, this would have been one of my favorite matches ever.
I just love the kicking of the balls. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hated when Nakamura was doing that, like, to AJ, like, all the time. It was cool the first time, but this, I feel like, was just all I could think of was
wear a cup.
But all I could think of is the line. Give me a second. I don't want to mess it up. That's my purse. I don't know you. Like, that's all I could think about.
I'm not going to lie. I was really regretting letting you go first when you said you didn't like the dick kicking because it was amazing. But the King of the Hill reference really brought it back. So I think we're on a good point now. I think we're balanced right now.
Well, no, I liked it in this match. I was saying I feel like they did it better than Nakamura's,
Oh, yeah.
It was that. I hated that storyline.
It was overdone and I think really did have a lot of potential, but just was not executed properly. Here, I thought it was executed much better. Only complaint was I felt like he did it with I was about to say Janice. Have you guys made that reference yet? Like that it's so the Spike is basically Janice from TNA. It's Abyss's 2x4 that's like covered in nails. It's obviously a little different here, but that's what everyone on the internet has been saying, that it's Janice. I don't know.
What was Mick Foley's bat? What was Barbie or something?
Yes, but it was a baseball bat, barbed wire. Like
this one was nails. Yeah.
They look very, very similar, Janice and Spike. I will say Spike is a little prettier, but
I don't understand.
Handle to it.
Yeah, it was more of a paddle than a 2x4.
Yeah, right. So my only complaint, and this might have been for time, I don't know, because again, you said it ran into Rampage. I would have liked a little bit more time before when he got Spike before he hit him in the balls. Like I would have boom.
He didn't build up to it.
Yeah, it was just like boom, he did it. Because I guess it's not the main part. The main part was I was going to hit him in the head with it, but he doesn't do that. So the last offensive move he did, I feel like it should have had more build up. Only complaint, very fun match. I wonder if they didn't handcuff Mama Wayne because like that would be something against like, having a woman in a vulnerable position. And like at the one point, I kind of get it if they don't want to like toe that line or like make anybody upset, or maybe she didn't want to do it. Who knows?
I thought it was just for the laugh.
Yeah, I thought it was just for the laugh that she's not down bad like that.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? It is kind of funny. Like there's something about it, like having all four corners.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if she was handcuffed personally.
Yeah,
but for whatever reason they didn't go that way. But I did think it was funny that they didn't do it. But
and obviously don't like wail on her because they were wailing on Nick Wayne and Christian and like Killswitch a lot.
Were they when they were handcuffed? I don't remember them being wailed on.
Christian specifically. Christian,
they beat the shit out of Christian.
They were wailing on Christian. Yeah. Felt kind of like he's already handcuffed. Edge has got this covered. You should kind of like go off into the corner. This isn't really your fight.
Oh, fuck that guy. Excuse me, sir.
Good point from you. Know it. What you're saying, Twitter exists. Somebody would have got mad. Good point.
It might not be a good position. Like, imagine someone just takes a picture of the still and it's just like,
we allow women.
Child, watch this.
We allow women to beat men in the genitals with hockey sticks, but we will not handcuff those women for their crimes.
They can't be held accountable.
Nope.
No accountability.
Thank you, AEW.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So, really enjoyed this match, and Edge is the TNT champion, so we'll see where we go from here. What did you think, James?
I very much love this main event. I would have timed it a little bit better with the ending of Dynamite into Rampage. I know why they did it. They wanted people to stick around in the Rampage. That makes total sense to me. But I would have maybe had the actual hit with Spike happen on Rampage because it happened on Dynamite. And then Christian said no, fade to black. And then he went for it the second time.
Thank God they timed that fade to black right there, because if they missed that shot, people would have been furious.
So I would have actually had him hit afterwards. But it is what it is. It's a minor nitpick. It's not like we didn't see it. It's not like we didn't watch it. Yeah, the hockey fight, perfection. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I thought the match was fun. I heard what you said before, Rev, that maybe there's someone out there who's going to say this was overbooked. I'm fine with it. It was a fun main event. It was a fun, silly main event between two best friends who were probably like backstage. How do we make this the most memorable match we can make it, the most fun match we can make it? And I
in the balls a whole lot.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was funny. Dick kicking. And I got to tell you, I think Christian Cage is a stronger, better man than I am. Because I'll tell you this, the moment that bat came out, or the moment Spike came out and he threatened to whale me in the balls with it, there wouldn't have been a second swing. There wouldn't have been a first swing. I would have quit. I would have sung it. I would have gladly, to the high heavens, screamed, I quit. So Christian Cage, strong, powerful man.
Christian's going to come out of this looking like Daniel Craig in the first James Bond movie. Like, how do you take that shot?
That was good.
So James, because Matt brought up the Nakamura Styles feud, I did want to shout out the Beat the Traffic Backlash that we went to. Worst pay-per-view ever.
It really was terrible. It really was
So,
terrible.
which one?
The
one
Backlash where Roman and Joe main evented.
Oh,
the one in New Jersey. We went and we started the Beat the Traffic chant because everyone was leaving.
I feel so bad for you guys. Did you leave early or no?
No, we stayed.
Nah.
Oh,
If you
guys
pay
are
for a ticket,
troopers.
you stay till the end.
That's why we started the Beat the Traffic chant. Bobby
Oh,
Roode
man.
twerked. There was a lot of dick kicking and punching between Nakamura and Styles in that one. It was not great. It was
And then
one good match.
Miz and Dolph had their IC title match, and that should have main evented, right?
That might have been the best match. Was that the opener?
Main event, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best match of the night. Everything else sucked. But all right.
Title versus career. I feel like that trumps world title career.
I mean, depends on the career, but yeah.
At that point, I think it was valid. But moving on, I decided.
I mean,
Yeah,
was it even for the title? It wasn't even for the title, was it?
I don't even remember what it
pretty
was.
It was a
positive
non-title match because Brock was the champion.
No. I mean, like Miz was IC champ.
What I'm
Dolph.
saying is Roman versus Joe wasn't a title match. I don't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just straight up because it was Roman at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my god, fuck this.
But regardless of anything, I very much enjoyed the matchup. I am interested to see not so much where Edge goes next with the title. I'm interested to see where Christian goes next without the title. Because quite frankly, outside of finally splitting up with Luchasaurus, I don't know what comes next for this guy. I loved Christian's TNT title reign. I loved Christian as the head of the family. But how much juice does this group have left? Where does Christian go from here? I don't want to see Edge versus. I don't want to see Adam Copeland versus Christian go any further. I'm done with it. It was a good beginning to end feud. Put a nail in it. Oh, poor choice of words, but put a nail in that coffin. Edge cheated big time. JL says, JL, what are you doing here, pal? It's late.
Dude, it was an I Quit match. You can't cheat.
I mean, I will say Daddy Magic and Garcia wailing on Christian while he was handcuffed was like totally unnecessary.
Dude, first of
Yeah,
all,
but he's been a dick to them too. They deserve to get their shots in.
It's not
First
their
of all-
match. They handcuffed him. That's good enough.
Nope.
he talked about his dead dad, man.
Eh.
Yeah, there you go. There
I feel
you
like
go.
FTR could have been the ones that made the save.
Fuck FTR. Fuck the revival.
There you go. You said it right.
Tying people up and having goons is cheating. Dude, Christian brought the goons first.
His guys literally interfered first.
There was an even amount of number of goons, not counting Mama Wayne.
Can I say though, I really enjoyed the faces here not looking stupid.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just, Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia hiding in the back just in case. They came out with an actual plan and executed the plan, and it worked. And Copeland ended up winning the TNT title. Everybody got their revenge on Christian and the patriarchy. It made them look smart. And I love when they do that with faces instead of it just being chaos or the faces, the faces don't come out with a plan and it's just stupidity.
Well,
So
I completely agree. JL in the comments saying Christian takes time off and reinvents himself. I don't know. I could see him taking some time off after what comes next, maybe. But I can't imagine he reinvents himself with this group around him.
Yeah, they got to do stuff with Luchasaurus kill switch. You got to see, if Nick Wayne can end up breaking away on his own. So there's stuff for Christian to do for you.
JL saying, one second, Matt. Not gonna lie, Bullet Club Gold entrance is fire. Just needed to say that it took me some time to like them. Yeah,
welcome
JL, I get.
Welcome to the good side.
Yeah, welcome. We have cookies. And
I was going to agree with JL, like right there.
Oh, yeah.
I got on board a little quicker than him, but I'm in the same exact boat.
Oh, I've been
James.
Bullet Club Gold since day one, man.
You have.
Yeah.
I have not.
And
Don't say it. Don't say it. You don't think it doesn't. That does not mean what you think it means. Don't say it.
Okay. Thank you. Oh goodness.
That almost happened on a streamer I watched on something else, and the also I looked. By the way, I found it. It was Backlash 2018. Styles versus Nakamura was for the WWE Championship, and it ended in a no disqualification match in a draw. because they both hit each other in the dick so hard that they both passed out. And Reigns versus Joe was a singles match and the main event, and it was for no title. Also, Daniel Bryan fought Big Cass on that.
What about Dolph and Miz?
Dolph did not. It was Seth fought Miz for the IC title. Seth
Holy
retained.
shit, I remember that. Yeah.
And that was the best match of the night. Nia Jax beat Alexa Bliss to retain her Raw Women's Championship. Jeff Hardy beat Randy Orton to retain his U.S. Championship. We had the Brian Cass.
Wait, so this was the best pay-per-view ever.
It's the worst. Carmella beat Charlotte to retain the SmackDown Women's title. The Styles match. Strowman and Lashley beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then Roman beat Joe.
What was this pay-per-view?
And somewhere in the middle of there, Bobby Roode twerked because No Way Jose came out.
Good for him.
I remember No Way.
God, that was so long. That Seth Miz match. That was a 20.5-minute match, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we were just talking about Bullet Club Gold. Is that the next segment of Rampage? Or
it was, yeah. Hey, look, yeah, Rampage is on, everybody. Holy shit. So, yes, we did actually go to a Bullet Club Gold promo package. Instead of being in Canada, they're over in Florida. Lucky them, chilling by the pool. We had the Guns brag about how they took out the Acclaimed last week and Darby, saying maybe it's finally time for them to take their father out to pasture. Jay White agrees with this, saying he takes care of them now, along with his new prize, Sting's bat, which he has repainted with a shiny new paint of gold. He then brags about how he broke Darby's foot, saying he probably saved Darby's life because now Darby can't go and climb Everest. And then they make a joke about like a skeleton that's supposed to be Darby coming down their water slide and dying again.
I thought that was pretty funny.
It was funny.
Especially, did you see they spray painted it gold too?
I knew it was not white. I thought it was just dirty. I didn't realize it was gold. Color
brilliant.
This then led to an Acclaimed promo up on the stage. No daddy ass tonight, as he was not even cleared to travel after the beatdown last week. Caster says, though, that even when the Acclaimed are demoralized, they still show up, unlike Jay White, who doesn't show up and hides behind his ass boys. He offers White a ticket to anywhere he wants to go that isn't AEW, even back home to New Zealand, but he knows that White is too stupid to take it. And Caster knows that because White pissed off the best wrestler alive. Bowens then calls out the trio for not being elite enough, first saying that the Guns weren't good enough to be in the video package the other week for the tag tournament that showcased the best tag champions ever, and then said White wasn't good enough to win the Continental Classic or beat MJF, who was on one leg, so maybe he should have signed somewhere else. The Acclaimed never needed White or the Guns. The only gang they needed is right here, the fans, because everyone loves the Acclaimed, as Bowens has everybody throw up their scissors and then drop their pointer finger to show what they really thought of Bullet Club Gold. Do you guys have anything on this? I figured we just kind of breeze through Rampage, but it seems Matt does.
Yeah, I really liked the Bullet Club Gold segment. It's hilarious in the beginning. They're poolside, the ass boys, or should I say the Gun Club. And
no, it's the ass boys.
And you just see Jay White in the back, like just watering plants. It's great.
I thought he was mixing drinks, but I wasn't really paying attention to him.
Well, he was by plants, and that there's definitely liquid involved either way. But only complaint, and it's not any of these guys' fault. It's the three guys. He turns around, he comes to the camera, and he's talking. I think we see Juice Robinson walking in the background. Yay. There's definitely somebody. Yay. And I was like, oh, is he going to come over? And he doesn't. And I'm like, oh, God. Like, bro.
Little tease, though.
No, it's bad. It was bad.
No, you're wrong. No. How is it bad? Explain it.
You save his return for something good, not I accidentally walked into the shot in the background.
That's not what it was. It's a tease. It's subtle.
Yeah, all right, I got to ask you this. Do you think in this pre-filmed promo, they made a mistake, edited it, and were like, oh, fuck, Juice is there. What do we do? No, they intentionally had him there to build up the hype that he's coming back.
That's what you have the cardboard Juice for.
I don't know where he went.
Yeah, all the cardboard is gone.
I just thought it was distracting and like unnecessary. And I'm someone who's been like, can't wait for Juice to come back. Can't wait for Juice to come back. Like, I think this took the wind out of my sails. I'm waiting for this match to happen between the two teams, maybe for unification, and that Juice is the one that cost the Acclaimed with his return. That's what I want. Even like, there's people like me that love Juice and want to see him back. Maybe there's some people who forget. And that's when he comes back and you surprise everybody. Don't have him here in the background. That's all I'll say about this.
He's rustling my jimmies, man.
I know.
Bad news, Jimmy.
Is it bad news, Jim, or bad attitude?
Bad guy, Jim.
Bad guy, Jim. I need the character to be.
All right. Typically, it's whenever I have a mustache. But
I thought you were Bob Belcher when you had the mustache.
Look, all I'm saying is you're allowed your opinion, Matt. We're allowed to disagree with you and be right about our opinion, but you're allowed your opinion. I loved it. I thought it was so fun. I am building up because you're right. Juice is probably going to come back and he's probably going to help them beat the Acclaimed. And that's cool. If you saw it, oh my God, Juice is coming back. If you didn't see it, means nothing. It was a background shot. Or at the very least, maybe Juice isn't coming back for this, but it was a nice little, oh man, even when he's not wrestling, the group is still a group. They didn't forget about him. It's not like Sammy Guevara with the Don Callis family that he went away and they just completely ignored him because he had a kid. I like the fact that the club is still a club even when they're not all on TV. But I digress.
Yeah, and AEW does drop a lot of hints and Easter eggs. I think it was it's Easter egg time. Easter's in a couple of weeks. That's all it is. And look, sometimes they are subtle, like actually subtle, and sometimes they're as subtle as a brick. So either way, it's kind of cool to drop the hints. Hopefully Juice comes back soon. And if you caught that, you're an steely-eyed missile man, and you got it. And if you didn't, you're going to, like James said, you're going to be surprised when he actually does show up.
I also, just one last bit. We didn't get to talk about it because it happened last week. I called it with Darby Allin.
Not doing Everest?
That he wanted to hurt himself. He wanted to die before he climbed Everest, so he didn't have to. And guess what happened? He didn't do it.
You were right about that, and I was right about Pac being number one contender. Yep. But that has to still be confirmed. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, they did the New Japan thing of him immediately coming out, so
yeah,
sure it's going to be him. Yeah. All right, next up we had I think it's the second wild card match in the Tag Team Championship Tournament, where we saw best friends Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta face off against Don Callis family members Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher. This match was cool. Orange almost got beat right off the jump.
I loved it.
As Hobbs spine busted him immediately, and Trent was forced to break it up like right as the match started. It was great. And then obviously they attacked Orange's back throughout the match. Towards the end, we saw Hobbs get taken out on the outside by a combination of a stomp and a beach break. But Trent then got hit with a tope by Fisher. Orange was kind of taken out after the beach break. And then he was taken back into the ring by Fletcher, and they were pretty much one-on-one there for a while. Fletcher hit Cassidy with a spinning tombstone pile driver, but Orange kicks out, and eventually Fletcher works Cassidy up to the top rope. Trent finally recovers, and he sneaks in behind Fletcher to hit an avalanche half-and-half suplex, which Orange follows with a diving DDT, while Trent goes back to the outside to keep Hobbs down permanently with a spear. Cassidy then hit an orange punch onto Fletcher, and the best friends are able to advance in the tournament. James, I really like this match. Four talented guys. I think we're going to get a good run here out of Cassidy and Beretta, so I'm not surprised they won. But just, fun tag match on Rampage. No complaints, and I think the right people won here.
No, absolutely. I think every single member of this team looked great. Yep. Hobbs, literally just a second away from ending the match in the very beginning, was a great touch. You really think he would have had Orange pinned if it wasn't for Trent making the save. Fletcher looked awesome. He had that great visual of the blood coming down from his mouth and then just looking like a madman. Trent and Orange having incredible chemistry, which shouldn't surprise anybody considering how long they've been a team, but they really worked well together. There was a lot of tag team offense. It wasn't two individuals wrestling as a team. It was a team. And I thought it was really well done. I'm still hoping that something happens, that Orange gets taken out of it and Chucky is healthy enough to take his spot. I'm really, really hoping that's where this goes, but we'll see. Great first matchup, and they are now the second team to qualify for the wild card of it all, alongside the Infantry, who beat House of Black.
The captain.
I don't know what world we live in, but we're living in it.
I mean, look, they discussed it on commentary. Obviously, there was a lot of interference there from Mark Briscoe. So, you know, I don't hate it. I kind of suck for House of Black, and they've been struggling a little bit of late to try to really catch on again, except for Julia Hart. So that does kind of hurt them, but I like the upset. It's nice to give the captain, you know, a little bit, especially because, you know, he does actually a lot of stuff backstage. So it's nice to see him throw him a bone. And I actually don't know who his tag team partner is. I do apologize, but I'm happy for Sean D.
I assume another veteran because they're the Infantry. So
yeah.
I had to kind of speed through this match, but like from what I saw, it looked great. And I kind of actually regretted, like as I was speeding through, you know, to keep up, I'm like, it seems like a good match. I wish I was watching it. And the way you guys are talking about it, it seems like I'll have to rewatch it. Caught that spine buster in the beginning. Awesome. Definitely caught a Fletcher with the bloody nose. I didn't really pay attention to the bracket. I thought Hobbs and Fletcher were going over. I thought the family needed something, you know, but I was wrong. It happens. And I'm with James. I hope we're getting a best friends reunion. Would love to see them make it to the finals. And it's interesting seeing the Infantry, you know, get that upset win. It's very reminiscent of the first tag team title tournament they ever did in AEW, where the Young Bucks lost to Private Party. Private Party got the upset win, and we're going to see a rematch of those two teams in this tournament. And I think we're going to have it's going to be the other way around this time. I think Young Bucks are at least making it to the finals.
See, I agree with you, but it's intriguing because Private Party are also heels right now. This was a weird time to do this rematch, in my opinion. I guess like they couldn't. No, they could plan because they didn't need to put the tag titles on Sting. But like weird timing, unless they're planning on turning Private Party face again. But yeah,
it could be a one night only kind of thing. We'll see.
Maybe, but I don't know how. Like the Bucks are just so bad people, just so bad. And I am 100% rooting for the Infantry to beat FTR. 100%. Not even not even saying this ironically. 100%. I want.
Oh, because you don't want Bucks FTR 4 yet.
No, I really don't.
It's kind of funny. They're both gun teams.
Yeah.
I don't care. That's not funny.
Moving on. We quickly saw a backstage celebration with Adam Copeland and all of his friends drinking some champagne, a little bit of the bubbly. And then we moved on to Kazuchika Shibata against Kevin Matthews. This ended in under 5 minutes. Shibata won with the sleeper and then the PK. Yay, I love Shibata. He faces Ospreay next week. That match is going to fuck. Let's go.
That it will.
Next up, we had Konosuke Takeshita against Rocky Romero. Bro, this match absolutely rocked. I am not surprised.
I love Rocky. He killed it.
Oh, underrated. Takeshita obviously is my boy. I think he's one of the best guys in the company, Matt. And I honestly want to go back. I saw the majority of this match. I was kind of setting this up, so I was a little distracted. But I want to go back and watch this with my full attention. That's how good it was.
Yeah, this was another one I had to I did miss some of it, but what I did see was amazing. It's kind of like the match, you know, Takeshita's going to win. I almost wish that we didn't know that Takeshita was taking on Swerve next week. So maybe there would be like a little hope for me and a little hope for Rocky. Because, I mean, Rocky's been doing this a long time. you know, he's been ups and downs, but always reliable, talented, fun. He's got a cool look. Like I haven't said anything about outfits since Eddie Kingston. He always has great gear.
Where's
Like,
the eye patch been?
he should bring the eye patch back. I don't know. Maybe is there anybody else with an eye patch?
I think it's a Roppongi thing. I think he does it when he's teaming up with Trent. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Roppongi 3K.
It's like you wonder of them being in the
No,
tournament.
not Roppongi 3K.
Oh yeah, just their Vice. Roppongi 3K.
They're Roppongi Vice. Yeah.
Who is 3K then?
Show and Yo, who he was managing afterwards, but they split up.
To rewind just a little bit, the Bucks could win, and then they would take FTR in the finals. So the Bucks could take on Best Friends and lose to them, and then Best Friends and FTR in the finals. There's possibilities there.
Oh, Bucks left side of the bracket. Okay.
Yeah. I just looked.
So just the top left is Bucks Private Party. Then Undisputed Kingdom is going to take on Best Friends. Top right is Ricky Starks and Big Bill taking on Top Flight, who will take on the winner of FTR versus the Infantry. Okay. So for all those paying attention, we are getting Young Bucks versus FTR 4.
We'll see.
Dynasty, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure this tournament will end at Dynasty. But back to Rocky and Takeshita. What I saw was great. What did you think, James?
No, I loved it. Takeshita, like I'm with you. I'm a big Rocky Romero fan. Did I lose you guys? Are you still here?
Oh,
no, you're good.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry about that. I had a moment on my end. This was an excellent showing for Takeshita. There was an incredible moment where Rocky did a tope to the outside, and Takeshita caught him in a suplex catch.
Yeah, I had notes for this, and that included that, and I just blew by it all, just to be like, it's fucked, yeah.
Absolutely incredible spot. It showed how strong Takeshita is. I love the bit where he missed the forearm and hit the corner, because that's going to open spot. Yeah, it's going to open up for Takeshita being a little weak next week when he takes on Swerve. Swerve, who is using an armbar.
Yeah, your favorite move.
It's going to happen again.
Not to mention the fact that Rocky also snapped it right after.
Yeah.
Kind of like Penta used to do. So, and then he also had it in armbar and was probably going to win with that. But Don hopped up on the apron, and that turned the match in favor of Takeshita, who, just for the record, after that, Takeshita hit Trent's finisher.
Well, let me talk about it, if you don't mind.
If you got the whole thing, go ahead.
Yeah. So he hits that front-facing spike head down to the mat. It looks like a pile driver. It kind of looks like a Dude Buster, but inverted. He then flips him up for a Blue Thunder Bomb, the spinniest of spinny Blue Thunder Bombs that you could hit. And he only gets the 2. Rocky looked awesome. I love the Blue Thunder Bomb, but apparently it doesn't matter what company you're in. It is not going to get the pin. Sorry, Sami Zayn.
Once every 5 years.
Seriously. This then led to Takeshita hitting, once again, one of the spinniest of spinny Falcon arrows, finally getting the 1, 2, 3. Now, I got to say it. I love that Takeshita is turning into the AEW version of Gunther, who could put you down with a myriad of moves. He could put you. I was joking that he didn't get the win with the Blue Thunder Bomb, but he has. He can beat you with the Blue Thunder Bomb. He could hit you with the knee and get the pin. He could beat you with the Falcon Arrow. The guy has a few different finishes, and I love it. He is a multi-level threat. I think he looked like a stud tonight, and I think Rocky, while looking good, was able to accentuate what makes Takeshita so good. And that's why having someone like Rocky, at least affiliated with you, is always a plus. So great matchup.
I do think commentary mentioned that Takeshita had been using the Falcon Arrow of late as a finisher. So that's something we might see more moving forward.
I think so too.
He also, I think he did hit the driving knee and then the sliding forearm to lead into that move. So he did land the forearm. So it didn't, I thought Rocky was going to kick because the forearm wasn't good enough. But I think they actually did that more with the Blue Thunder Bomb, saying he couldn't get a proper cover and that allowed Rocky to kick. So great match.
Isn't her Karashita, isn't her finisher the Falcon Arrow?
It's the Oh, what the hell's the name? It's named after the sword thing.
Excalibur.
No, it's
Oh,
no.
that spinny kick she does.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I should know this.
She did Falcon Arrow. She has gotten wins with the Falcon Arrow,
Yeah.
but it is not her primary finish.
She's done the deal. Yeah, it's more of a signature for her. I'll think of it. But as I said in the chat, we tired, and the reason I said that is because we forgot about Julia's eye patch.
Sorry, Julia. With your one eye watching this, I apologize.
Thank you, for reminding us that Julia did rock the eye patch for a long while. All right, let's finish up here finally with our main event. We saw Willow, Nightingale, and Kris Statlander take on Julia Hart and Skye Blue in a very good street fight. I'm just going to go through the end here a bit. And pretty much right after we came back from our final commercial, we saw Skye get out of a Willow powerbomb attempt on the announce table and instead turn that into a code blue, which the table did not break on, so ow. Skye then jumped into the ring and with a bag of thumbtacks that she emptied into the ring. And then Statlander met her face to face and dumped her own bag of thumbtacks right on top of that. The two fought into the corner, and Skye is eventually able to powerbomb Statlander into the tacks, and Statlander kicks out. Skye then put tacks into Stat's mouth and then hit a thrust kick, and Stat kicked out again. Willow somehow after that got back up into her feet and is able to grab Skye as she's heading to the top rope, get her on her shoulders, and hit a Death Valley driver through two tables down back on the floor. Julia then tried to sneak up on a kind of wobbly Statlander, but Stat's able to catch Julia and slam her into a pile of chairs near the corner. Stat then goes up to the top ropes, goes to the 450, but Julia rolls out of the way, and she lands right into that pile of chairs. And Julia is able to grab Statlander, lock in Heartless, and force Statlander to tap out. This match was a very good match. I enjoyed all of it. The ending was very interesting to me. We have been seeing Statlander lose quite a bit lately, mostly due to Stokely's shenanigans. And she was very well protected here. I mean, she ate a lot of tacks and then fell into a bunch of chairs. Yeah, literally ate a lot of tacks. And then fell in the chairs. But we see again, Statlander, even though it was a street fight, trying to do things the right way, she ends up losing another match, this time to the TBS champion, who she isn't necessarily gunning for, but she would take another shot at that title, and she's unable to defeat Julia Hart.
Absolutely. Huge Statlander fan of all these women, not as much Julia, but still fan of everyone. And everyone did great tonight. Everyone really, really did. I would say it seemed like they seemed less comfortable around the weapons, like the chairs and the kendo sticks. When it came to doing spots, like in tacks and in the tables, they were just fucking killing it. And it was great. It was awesome. It was badass. I think my favorite had to have been Skye Blue here tonight. And back to I'm all over the place here. I apologize, but back to Statlander. I think it's serving her what I think we will see an eventual heel turn. I think it's just adding fuel to the fire of that. So they want her to get some more losses, build up that frustration, and then the turn will come. So the spot, the code blue, that was probably my favorite. The code blue that Skye Blue did on Willow on the announcer table. The table did not break. It was a very sturdy looking table. It was the complete opposite of that table a couple months ago. The one, remember, Hook and Samoa Joe, that was just like a couple of cinder blocks. So this was reinforced probably because it's a different spot. I get it. So it didn't necessarily have to break, but it's kind of one of those things do you want it to break? Do you want it to be strong? I just thought it was awesome and it was kind of badass. It was my favorite spot of the match.
They usually don't break in AEW. That one time was a fluke, and I think they were probably trying to get it to break, and they probably made it too weak. Normally they don't break, and obviously we saw that tonight.
Well, yeah, the thing is, it's in that kind of position, it's okay, both these people have to be on top of the table. It's not like I'm doing a move on you and you crash through the table. So the table obviously has to be reinforced when two women are on there, or anybody, doesn't matter. But so much fun. And like I said, I think Skye Blue for me is the all-star of this, even though I think all four women did a great job. What could you not like about this? And hopefully the ratings will showcase that as well. I don't know. It's hard to say. But I'm at a loss for words. Any more words? What do you think?
I think Matt is completely tapped out of words, James. But I do agree with him. We are, I think, unfortunately, because I love her so much, building towards this Statlander heel turn, probably at the behest of Stokely, who's trying to get them to cheat a little bit more. And the losses are just building to that, and just a big part of the storyline at this point.
No, I agree. I think it's inevitable at this point. And I'm okay with it because I do think she needs a little bit of a shakeup. And I think she's always had a little bit of an edge to her. You remember that promo that she cut against legit Layla Hirsch where she was like, yeah, I get why your parents set you up for adoption. Like, that was fucked up. But they did it. She did it. So she's always had that. I got to give it to her. I know Matt was saying that Skye Blue was sort of the MVP of the match, and I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. But at the very least, honorable mention, the stat and everything she put herself through. She had 2 tack spots, one being dropped on it, 2 taking that super kick with the tacks in the mouth. She took that the nasty finish, which was just brilliant. I got really worried when she missed off from the top rope.
The 450?
The 450, because it looked like she hit her knees, and her knees.
Shivani said as much. Yeah.
And her knees.
That's why you have knee pads. I know she's had issues, but.
Sure, yes. I know, but yes. I think she absolutely killed it tonight. I think all 4 women did. Willow, that table spot, I liked it. I like that table spot.
Both of them.
On the outside, yeah. And Julia I think she gets it. I think something clicked with her that she gets who this character is. She gets how to make this reign work with this character. And I think her having this, I don't want to say lackey, but this sidekick in Skye Blue has really added an extra layer to her. And it's weird how separated this stuff feels from the rest of House of Black.
Yeah.
Because Skye Blue isn't part of House of Black. She's Julia's partner.
Good point.
So it would have been cool. Like, I would actually kind of like it if Skye Blue was sort of incorporated into the House of Black stuff. But I get them being a little weary of that. But all in all, I know my lower third says didn't need to watch Rampage, but I actually did enjoy it, and I thought this was a great main event. I'm not expecting. I know you brought it up, Matt. The numbers are not going to be good for this because it ended at 11. I know that, but fun night of wrestling, fun way to end the show, and again, 3 major women's segments in the beginning of the night, middle of the night, to end the night. Yep. So happy women's wrestling fan right here.
Yeah, not to mention a backstage segment with the women, so 2 of the women in this match tonight, Mercedes. Exactly. James, I think the thing that clicked wasn't just, the House of Black, but I think, the mentorship from those 3 men, particularly Brody King. A lot has been said about how much Brody has taken Julia under his wing and helped her out. But you do have a good point about how separate this does feel from the rest of them. When Julia showed up with them last week for that promo before the match with Briscoe.
Yeah.
I was surprised because she had her own promo right before that with Skye, and then separately she went in with the House of Black to do that promo. So I do wish she was with them a little more. I liked when Brody used to second her to matches, but I do understand now, she's kind of doing her own thing here. You're right. This character has truly clicked, and she really gets it. So I think she's been doing great. Skye is actually quite evil. Watch her on RJ City's show. I believe, again, that is called Hey Ew, according to James.
I regret nothing.
So I do like RJ City's. It's really hard to say. RJ's City's show. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
When it's late, you're saying it quickly.
I've heard good things about it. I wonder if Sky Blue should like change her name if she's evil, like Black Sky. I don't know. Kind of.
No, I saw the Defenders. That didn't work.
I think it's worth another shot, but I was also thinking that. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page. Even if we don't agree.
Yeah, but look, James, like you said, I thought this was a great way to end the show. And Rampage it was 3 straight bangers. I know we had the Shibata squash in the middle there, but these were 3 really good matches. If this was what you were going to throw on as you had an hour, I thought this was great. I don't know if Rampage is like this every week. I think we usually get a little more backstage stuff, but it was a very match-heavy episode, and I loved it.
It's weird because, like, Dynamite had that amazing finish with Copeland. It started really strong with Okada. So inherently, everything that happened on Rampage just does feel a little lesser. Did we get a South Park reference in the comments? Oh my god. I'm not saying it. But,
I can do the voice, but I don't think you're like allowed to anymore.
Yeah, it's not worth getting canceled over.
Yeah, I kept you from saying something earlier. You can keep me from saying
no, we're on the same team here. Inherently everything is just going to feel a little bit lesser. Everything's going to feel a little bit less important after 2 major title changes on the previous show.
Right.
So, but I get not putting any of the big stuff on Rampage because the likelihood of people sticking around that late was low. So it was a weird position to be in. I think they booked the best show they could. And if it was on a Friday night, it would have made total sense. It's just a little bit weird given everything that was on Dynamite. But overall, a great 3 hours of wrestling. Good stuff from AEW.
Yeah, I mean, they do this every week. Obviously, they film Rampage after Dynamite, so it's not really any different. But I do think, because it was live, they were just like, "Here's some banger matches, sickos, watch them," and it was great. So I really enjoyed it. I guess we can kind of just those were our overall thoughts on Dynamite. I think we all really enjoyed the show. The added hour was a lot. Obviously, it's late. We're tired. Matt is literally falling asleep on his.
Are we gonna have to do this every week? How long is the NCAA stuff gonna go?
I don't know if they're gonna do it next week. The NCAA's are the next couple of weekends, but next weekend games are a lot more spread out. And
when is Collision this week?
They canceled it, but it
really
just
canceled.
It will be back next week, and so I imagine. You got to understand, this week with the NCAA tournament, there is games on like every 45 minutes, and they're run between TBS, TNT, True TV, and CBS, which is why I need 4 screens for the tournament. And it's just one after the other for a morning block from like noon to like 7:30, and then they kick off again at like 8 o'clock, and they run all the way to like 1 o'clock in the morning because of the West Coast. So that is taking up the next 4 days. Next week, it's standalone games. They can book around Rampage and Collision and put them on Turner, put them on TNT. They're not going to put them on True TV next week, but put them on TBS, put them on TNT, depending on what's on, or put them on CBS. So we'll get our normal schedule back next week. It's just the one time this year they all fell together. But yeah, just overall, I loved this in general. I love this Dynamite. It was stacked top to bottom. Big show for Toronto. 2 title changes, a lot of women's stuff, a lot of fun. Unless anybody has anything to say, I'm going to end the show before Matt goes to bed. So I'd like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Mark It Down podcast. We would appreciate it if you both like and subscribe. Liking the video lets us know we're doing a good job here, and you like this type of content. And subscribing allows you to get more content from us every week. Obviously, we are here for Wednesday every week after Dynamite. I think we're starting to do a little more SmackDown. Matt, I saw you did it last week. Thank you. Especially as we get closer to WrestleMania season, or we are in WrestleMania season, but especially as we get closer to WrestleMania itself, we'll be doing a bit more of that, bit more of Dynamite, as well as you can catch Danny's Raw Fast Forwards on Monday. And then obviously we will be doing stuff for WrestleMania, hopefully both here on the YouTube channel and on our social media stuff, as we have a large contingent of the podcast going down to Philadelphia. If you'd like to follow us on our social media stuff, you can follow us on Twitter at @markitdown_pod. And follow us on Instagram Mark It Down Pod. And if you want to follow us here on YouTube, if you're listening on audio or on seeing a clip on one of our social sites, you can follow us. It's youtube.com/markitdown3665. Those audio platforms you can listen to us on are both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, we have Facebook. I guess just search us, but we barely use that. Go check out Instagram, though. It's fun. And like I said, we'll be getting some content down in Philly as well. I think that about covers everything. So you guys are good. Yeah, you guys are good. You're tired. For Matt Cascone and James Santi, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us this late here on the Mark It Down podcast. Have a good night, everyone. Seriously, go to bed. It's fucking almost 2 a.m. Bye.